People arriving en masse today at beautiful Grand River Raceway in Elora, Ontario, where it's Industry Day 2024. Great way to spend the holiday weekend or the end of it here in beautiful Elora, and lots happening at the track today. It's a real fun-filled family atmosphere this afternoon as we celebrate the best of the Ontario racing industry, and we'll see the best two-year-old colt and filly pacers going postward in the Battle of Waterloo and the Battle of the Bells. So everyone enjoying themselves here today, and the equine animals, not the only popular ones that we see here this afternoon as well. And it's a beautiful afternoon, sunny skies. There was a little threat of rain, but it appears to be past us now, and picture-perfect weather conditions as we welcome you trackside here at Grand River Raceway. The new 5/8 mile oval, Mark McKelvey, it debuts here for the first time, and a lot of people excited to see what the province's best rookies can do on this new track.
And I remember last year on this day at Industry Day, we were talking about it being the final time we would see the battles contested over the half-mile ovals. And, you know, if you're a little nostalgic for that, obviously we've got a lot of history pre-2024 from those events, but now it's time for a new era when it comes to Industry Day, and I think throughout the province and here locally in Elora and the surrounding area, the 5/8 oval has been so well received, so I'm excited to see how these races are going to play here this afternoon.
What a weekend it is. Great racing all over North America. Of course, we were at the Hambletonian in New Jersey this past weekend, a big event here locally in Hanover as well.
Yeah, Dream of Glory was on Saturday night. We're right in the heart, obviously, of summer, but of course, coming with that is the stake season, all the big events in our sport, including the one happening here today. So a lot of miles being racked up, whether that's here in Ontario or south of the border, but no better time, especially in those winter months. I know a lot of the times I'm thinking about, hey, when are we going to get to that stake season? And we're certainly in the heart of it now.
Yeah, and it seems like yesterday we were watching many of these rookies in baby race action, wondering who would ultimately be here on this day at this venue. So it's certainly an exciting time of year. We should talk about the new track quickly. We didn't know what to expect coming in this season. A lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of money put into resurfacing and going from the half to the 5/8. Safe to say, though, it's been a rousing success.
I think so. And also, you need to give things time. You need to get things time to settle, to see how things are going to play. You know, Post 1 is still winning an awful lot here, but of course, that doesn't mean it's the only post that's winning. You can win from the outside. You can win from off the pace. The first race here today, the winner circled the field. So I think as it goes along, the driver's also getting the handle of the track and kind of figuring things out. We're going to see it play. I don't think it's set up just yet the way it will be come a year from now or 2 years from now. One thing for sure, though, speed. We see a lot of fast opening quarters here with the way the track is configured. The gate moves them into the backstretch, and it's not too far into the backstretch that they're sent on their way. So with so much straightaway before they hit the turn and the big turns here, you can see some big opening quarters, and I expect we'll see that in one, maybe both of our main events.
So speaking of speed, let's take a look now at the two-year-old records at this point in time. Again, you know, we're approximately halfway through their initial season here on a 5/8 mile oval. There's been some fast times, to say the least, but nobody faster than what we saw last week in both eliminations. Track record performances on the filly side and the colt side.
I mean, 151 and 4 by 5th and 5. Very eye-catching. It doesn't matter if it's a 5/8 mile oval here in Ontario or in the U.S. For a 2-year-old pacer to put up a mile like that in early August, it is eye-catching. You see Manhattan Mayhem, 153. I think that mark will get beaten here today. I'm just not sure if they will beat that 151 and 4 mile by 5th and 5. It's going to take a heck of an effort to do it. Maybe he does it again.
Yeah, and you talk about both of those races and how they did it a week ago. Manhattan Mayhem from way off the pace. One of the probably the most impressive off-the-pace moves we have seen this season at Grand River. In 5th and 5, he really stepped up his game in a big, big way. Quick look at that 11th race field today. 245,400 on the line in the Battle of Waterloo. there's depth and there is quality top to bottom this year.
There certainly is. A 9-horse field that's going to go forward here. 5th and 5 is your morning line favorite by virtue of that impressive performance last week, but I think some others have shown some pretty good glimpses in their prior starts and maybe some disappointing efforts for a few of them in their eliminations, but certainly capable of bouncing back. The other elimination winner was the 5, Stonebridge Wizard, who got the job done in 152 and 4. Here's a horse that's won 3 of 4 starts, so you can't sleep on him, even though he finished a second slower than the mile of 51 and 4 that was put up by 5th and 5.
Good look there at the field and the post positions. The big benefactor of a great effort last week from an outside post was Sterling Choice. He had post 8. The connections obviously were concerned by that, but the colt really raced exceptional to finish 4th, and wouldn't you know it, post 1 in the final.
Yeah, and maybe you just kind of got to take your licks at times and just hope when the money is on the line, first of all, that you got in there, and second of all, that you draw well. That is the case for Sterling Choice, a horse that you can't miss when he's out on the track. He'll have a lot of fans, maybe some new fans here that'll definitely be cheering him on here this afternoon.
All right, there's a race underway here as we speak, and we've got a few races, I should say, to set the stage for the Battle of Waterloo today. It's an all-stakes, supercharged late pick 5 that we're going to feature as part of the show today. 2 OSS divisions, 3-year-old colt and gelding pacers. The first ever Buttonup Preferred, of course, the Battle of the Bells, and then the Battle of Waterloo to wrap it up. The Buttonup Preferred, that's a nice touch as well. No horse has had a better history on Industry Day than that Son of Northern Luck.
We have to go all the way back to 2005 when Buttonup was victorious in the Battle of Waterloo. And for a lot of the past champions, some of them maybe never come back here to Allura. Sometimes they go on to big success in the Grand Circuit. Others, I don't want to say flash in the pans, but hey, everybody has their day. But for Buttonup, he was a staple here in Ontario for so long, and he always showed up on this Civic Holiday Monday, and you said it, no better record. What's the exact number of how many times he won here on Industry Day? Maybe it's how many times he raced, but he got to the winner's circle an awful lot.
Yeah, he won 3 preferred events over the years, plus, of course, a Battle of Waterloo champion. So you rarely see that where horses come back and to the scene of the crime, so to speak, and win. That's all that veteran seemed to do. So nice touch. And, of course, the main events, the Philly counterpart, Battle of the Bells, Battle of Waterloo in race 11. But first of our 5-pack, race 7, we'll tee that up after this first commercial break. You're watching live coverage of Industry Day on Cosa-Tv.
The London Classic Yearling Sale, Canada's premier standardbred auction, returns October 15th and 16th to the Western Fair District Agriplex. Recent London sales standouts include O'Brien Award winners and millionaire performers, Logan Park, Fashion Frenzy, and Stockade Sealster. Leading North American consigners and yearlings by the sport's top sires, all under one roof in a world-class facility. Find your next champion at the London Classic Yearling Sale. Find out more by visiting londonclassic.ca.
For over 25 years, Tara Hill Stud has worked with partners to help produce champion stallions. We are proud to have bred great racehorses like Fade Out, Shower Play, Precious Delight, and There's a Demon in Me. Our stallions, past and present, have had tremendous success while making a huge impact on racing across North America. Mr. Levesque, Mach 3, Cadabra, Muscle Mass, and Precious Bunny, to name a few. Our stallions' progeny have won major events, including the Hambletonian. Tara Hill Stud are currently standing 9 of the industry's top stallions. Alarm Detector, Control the Moment, Danson Lou, Flanagan Memory, Green Manalishi, He's Watching, Muscle Mass, Resolve, and Sports Writer. Our facility is modern, our staff knowledgeable. Consider Tara Hill Stud when choosing a home for your stallion. Tara Hill Stud, where champions stand and champion yearlings are raised. Log on to tarahills.com.
And control, fun of the game on the inside third. Some beach somewhere, still has 2.5 lengths to make up and has rolled out there 3 wide. On the inside, Samurai Sealter is 5th. And Keystone Horatio's marching 3 wide on the final turn. Sturgis Hanover, Dr. J. Holiday to the inside. And Ratings Hanover trailing 3/4, 125 and 2. Believe in Bruiser leads to the top of the stretch, but here comes Some Beach Somewhere, and Paul McDonnell, Some Beach Somewhere at the top of the stretch, has come on to take the lead, and Some Beach Somewhere now is cruising down the stretch drive. The 10th Battle of Waterloo final goes to Some Beach Somewhere and Paul McDonnell. Fun of the Game was second, Believe in Bruiser was third, Samurai Sealter was fourth. 155 flat.
Welcome back. We are in the infield location at Grand River Raceway. You can see behind us a really nice crowd on hand here today. A lot of people anxious to see, how these races will go for the first time over a different oval. It's been contested in the early days at Elmira. Then it moved to Grand River. Both half-mile tracks, but really different venues, different surfaces. And now the new 5/8 mile oval. But we've seen enough this season that a lot of people, I think, are certainly excited and anticipating something pretty special today.
Yeah, I think so. I think the drivers in this race, a lot of the times when you're on a half-mile track, post position kind of seals your fate at times. If you land on the outside in a big money race, you maybe take a shot. Other times you're hoping just to pick up the pieces. Here today, though, I think everybody, no matter where they are on the gate or where they'll be lining up here today, feels like they have an opportunity. And that's why I think we'll expect to see a lot of action early in these miles, whether that be in the Battle of the Bells or the Battle of Waterloo. But that anticipation, I think you're right, is maybe as high as it's been for those coming into this event in quite some time.
And a power-packed program today. We're just getting into the stakes action. In fact, behind us, a Winner's Circle celebration is on, the first division of the Ontario Sire Stakes. We welcome 3-year-old Colding Gelding Pacers here today, and it was Century Komodo winning it for Doug McNair. I didn't get the time on that, but this is a son of Butter's Delight who's now winning for the 4th time in 9 starts this year. He's having a real nice season, as is his trainer, Anthony Beaton, of course, winner of the Meadowlands Pace and Pepsi NA Cup this year, and set a track record at the Meadowlands on the weekend. So another victory here, Century Komodo for Doug McNair, and Doug McNair will love to get a win under his belt today. Looking for yet another Battle of Waterloo final.
And you talked about the success that the Jamesons have had in this event. They come back with 5th and 5. Doug McNair not driving for his dad today in the Battle of Waterloo, but he is driving a top contender and an elimination winner in Stonebridge Wizard. You think about it, Doug's age at this point in his career, he is still really young in his harness racing career, but he's been around for quite some time now, and he's had so much success in this event. It's hard to imagine how many wins he could get in a race like this by the time his driving career does come to a close, because he just seems to just love Industry Day like many of us do. However, different as he gets to the winner's circle. Others, we just kind of watch and enjoy it. He knows how to win this race.
Well, speaking of Doug, we caught up with him a week ago during the eliminations to get his thoughts on the results that night and looking ahead, of course, to today.
Stonebridge Wizard and Doug McNair look still relaxed on the lead, but Sensational on the outside is looming, and Set Shot is in the pocket, and Out of Ice is racing on the outside 4th, and Sterling Choice is 5th. And then it is Boyd Bay and Bunkhouse Boss, and on the outside Crack Shot. And now from the backfield, Bunkhouse Boss is making up a lot of ground, 3/4, 124 and 3. Stonebridge Wizard on the inside, it'll be Set Shot looking to fire up the passing lane, and here now comes Jody Jameson and Out of Ice trying to call her Stonebridge Wizard. Stonebridge Wizard and Out of Ice. Stonebridge Wizard is going to win. Out of Ice was second. Then Set Shot and Sterling Choice.
Yeah, Wizard, I didn't get the best trip with him last week at Mohawk, and I'm pretty excited going into the night. And I don't even think he loves the front that much, and he showed tonight he can do it both ways. Well, if the track's tight and the weather's good, I mentioned that to my dad there this afternoon. I think you could see a 51 mile. I think if everything goes right. I mean, not that you have to go 51, but to make people happy. But I think they're going to go a pretty good mile. I haven't driven this track at all this summer, so I said that after the elimination earlier. I really don't know how to drive this track yet. I mean, the old track, I got onto it pretty good when I was young and knew where to get a good breather with them and stuff. But this track, I really don't know yet. So it's if I got a good enough horse, it shouldn't matter.
Doug McNair will look for him in that Battle of Waterloo final. He'll have drives in both finals. In fact, a Manhattan Mayhem, such an impressive elimination winner in the Battle of the Bells. So he's got a pretty nice 1-2 combination in those lucrative finals here this afternoon. He gets a race off, though, in this upcoming 7th race, and that's going to tee off our coverage today. It's their first of our supercharged late pick 5 all stakes pick 5 sequence here. Ontario Sire Stakes back in town over the newly configured 5/8 mile oval. Nice aerial view thanks to the Cujo Entertainment drone high above, getting some beautiful shots here today. I can tell you, Mark, when the first night back returned this season, you can kind of see it there. You can see the outline of the old infield there, the real green stuff, and on the outside that was brown dirt. There wasn't a blade of grass on there initially, so it really has come a long way. And yeah, you think ahead to this time next year, and you know, the old half-mile venue will be a distant memory.
Yeah, you won't even be able to tell. You're right, when we throw the drone up a year from now. I talked about a little bit earlier how big the turns are here at Grand River Raceway, and you really got a good look at it on the drone there a second ago as we take our way back into the far turn now. They are big turns. In fact, they're actually bigger than the first turn is at Woodbine Mohawk Park, which is the old 5/8 turn there. Of course, when it got expanded to a 7/8, it's got that egg shape, and the far turn is massive at Woodbine Mohawk Park, but kind of speaks volumes to the size of the track here now and what was done to enhance it from a half to a 5/8.
And it was designed at the time by Dr. Ted Clark, of course, was here when the initial Grand River Raceway was built, and it was designed at the time with that in mind, that potentially they would want to expand to a 5/8 mile track. And yeah, it is unique, and you know, that was something that we had to see firsthand how it was going to be in terms of the racing style. And as we mentioned, it's been a rousing success with those big sweeping turns. Horses can carry their momentum. Horses in the outside can, in fact, make wide moves and gain ground. So therefore, the flow and the style of racing has been fantastic. I would say it's exceeded expectation.
And that's what you want. I don't want to say the half-mile racing is a thing of the past, but of course, as time has gone on and the breed is developed, it isn't what it once was. It works in many parts, but at a place like Grand River Raceway that's racing 3 nights a week through the heart of the summer and has Sire Stake races plus a day like Industry Day, I think having those races on bigger tracks, maybe it's a little more fair, I guess, across the board for everybody in there, a little more forgiving, and I think the trainers are pretty excited to have another 5/8 mile oval in the province. And like you said, I think no matter what, whether, you know, some say it might take a little bit of time to adjust. You heard Doug McNair saying you got to figure out how to drive here. Eventually, once everything settles right in, going to be a real nice gem to have this right here in beautiful Elora, Ontario.
Yeah, beautiful town. We've talked about it before. Every time we come here, we really do enjoy it. A little bit of a tourist town. It's just a gem of a place, and it gets very busy in the summertime here. I can tell you the beautiful Elora Gorge, the Elora Mill along there. It's a great location for weddings and other special events. And yeah, people just flock to this area in the summertime. And a lot make their way here, of course, to Grand River Raceway, right in the heart of the area. And today it is the scene of the Battle of Waterloo, another Industry Day upon us. I want to welcome everybody tuning in once again from far and wide today. We're going to try and get our internet boosted. We haven't really been able to get on and see who is tuning in today, but as you know, we always love to hear from everybody, so drop us a line and make a comment today. Everyone that does will have a little prize pack that we'll be drawing from the folks who do comment today who are online. So we'll pick one name following the show. We've got a nice prize pack that we're going to put together. Probably a little bit of Grand River swag, maybe some OSS swag as well for the lucky winner. So, yeah, let us know where you're tuning in from today. Let us know who you like in the card. Getting set to go with the first race. We'll get a quick look at the field for race number 7, which will be our first event live of the day. Again, it's an OSS division, 3-year-old colt and gelding pacers. These divisions have come up very good today. We're going to get a look at a couple of outstanding 9-horse fields, the first of which is here in race number 7. There's the post position draw. Who should we be keeping an eye on?
Well, we can go right back to trainer Tony Beaton, who won the last division with Century Komodo. Sends out the rail starter McPleasant, who is coming in on a 2-race win streak, including a victory in an OSS grassroots division back on July 19th at Woodbine Mohawk Park. A sparkling mile of 150 and 3 after getting a nice trip mid-pack and then rallying off cover, pacing home strongly in 26-4. We'll see if they change things up today and driver James McDonald tries to go forward. I'm keeping an eye on that one, but of course have to keep an eye to his next door neighbor, the 2. Always a thrill. A horse that coming into this season, it's safe to say the connections thought he's going to maybe be a gold one. Hasn't turned out necessarily to stay at that level, but always a thrill. Has a lot of talent. He's got a career best of 150-2 and looks to get back into the win column for the first time since June 18th. I mean, earlier in the year, he raced in events like the SBOA, the Some Beach Somewhere, so always a thrill. And Sylvain Filion should make a major threat in this 7th race.
Anthony Beaton, James McDonald, they had a pretty nice weekend south of the border, of course. A track record performance, 146-2, legendary Hanover. Nice follow-up to his Meadowlands pace win. Bob McClure, also a pretty productive weekend. We should give him a shout-out. Almost came so close to winning his second Hambletonian in just his second try in a final. That would have been remarkable.
I don't know about you, but I thought at the head of the lane, I thought Highland Kismet was a winner.
A
Carl had a bit of work to do to still get to him, and Highland Kismet, the way that he looked coming into the home stretch, he looked like he still had enough to go the distance. And even when Carl got up on even terms with Highland Kismet, I thought Highland Kismet actually kind of dug in one last time. Carl, though, got him and wore him down and goes on to the victory, but no shame in that runner-up effort by Highland Kismet. And you look forward to the rematch eventually between those horses. Don't know when that'll happen. Carl likely heading now to Kentucky and racing in their Sire Stakes program and can stay right through there to the Kentucky Futurity. But man, Highland Kismet, what a talented trotter he's been, and has, I guess you could say, had the backing of Ontario, had a lot of believers here, and certainly gained even more during his recent trip to the Meadowlands.
Yeah, and going into the Hambo, it was all about Carl and TCI and that matchup. And going forward, Highland Kismet will be in the mix. I think he's going to be a real handful for whoever faces him going forward. But congratulations to the connections of Carl, of course, Nancy Tactor. Second consecutive Hambo. The last person to do that was her dad in 14-15, one of the greatest of all time. So that's an incredible achievement. But how good did everyone feel for Yannick Gingras? Finally gets the monkey off of his back, and he was trying to play it down, of course, that wasn't weighing on him like everybody thinks, but you could see in the emotion after the race that was a big weight off his shoulders, and it was just nice to see. It
was a real emotional moment for both Yannick and his family to think all those years that you go into the season with. Usually he had a top-notch 3-year-old trotter coming into the year that could be his Hambletonian horse, multiple favorites, and just not able to get to the winner's circle in that event. I think even he had mentioned before, there's a lot of great drivers that only won the race once, but raced in it, maybe close to 20 times. It is so hard to win this race, but to get one, it would mean the world, and he finally did get it with Carl this past Saturday at the Meadowlands. And now it's one of those things, you mentioned it, getting the monkey off your back. Like, you wouldn't be shocked if Yannick comes back and wins it again next year, or all of a sudden, let's say 5 years from now, we're talking about him being a 3-time champion. It was just one of those races that eluded him. There aren't many races that he doesn't have on his resume. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's got that Hambletonian trophy, and who knows what could come next for him. But I think right now he's just going to enjoy this one for as long as he can.
All right, and there's another guy that's winning a lot of big races all over North America, James McDonald, the multiple O'Brien Award winner here in Canada, and Anthony Beaton there. They send out post 1 starter McPleasant. We'll see them on track in a moment. And, of course, they've been having a lot of fun lately with legendary Hanover as well. There's a look at the odds for the first field we're going to see. Let's take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have the post parade of Race 7 next.
Winback Farm of Canada's now home to Meadowlands Pace Champion Beach Glass.
Beach Glass wins the cane pace. Beach Glass.
Well, today it's Beach Glass.
And Beach Glass is going to get there. Beach Glass in front.
Beach Glass. The beach is back. Beach Glass.
New to Winback Farm of Canada in 2024. For more information, visit winbackfarm.com.
Sealster, a name synonymous with quality. From their picturesque farm in Lucan, Ontario, Sealster Farms has been producing champions for decades. Stars like $650,000 winner Poseidon Sealster, millionaire mares Karma and Kendall Sealster, and 2-time O'Brien Award-winning Stockade Sealster. Sealster is also the home of many of Canada's top stallions. like Sunshine Beach, All Bets Off, and world champion superstar Bulldog Hanover, the sport's all-time fastest performer. Find your next champion at Sealster Farms. For more information, visit sealsterfarms.com.
And we are back. There's a look at the field again for our first race of the broadcast. It is the OSS Grassroots Division for 3-year-old Colt and Gelding Pacers. And the crew behind the scenes, they've got us hooked up here, Mark.
Hey, we're going to see Stonebridge Wizard later today, but the real Wizards at Grand River Raceway is that of the Cujo Entertainment team. So I know you're real happy now to be up and on the internet.
Yeah, we're having a look online. Just want to say hi to some of the viewers tuning in here. Dolly Powell checking in from Bear, Delaware. I've never been to Bear, Delaware, but great to have Dolly on board. Mark Anderson, friend of the show. Douglas Martin watching on the Facebook feed. Barb Timmons-Longafee, of course, another friend of the show. Nancy Hubbard. Robbie McMillan from down east tuning in. He'll be getting excited for Old Home Week just around the corner. Judy Pitcher from Grand Forks, British Columbia. Andy Carnegie is online. Wade Mason as well. And others. Great to have everybody tuning in today. Thanks so much for watching, as always.
And on our YouTube channel, we want to give a special shout out to Brett Goodall's tuning in, along with Blaine and Stephanie from Calgary, and as well to Bev Snowblin. So Terry and Bev both watching here today. So like you said, big thanks to everybody that's tuned in and enjoying their holiday Monday, as we've done so many years now with Industry Day from Grand River.
Let's meet the field, the first of our live events today. We've got a great 5-pack. And for the horse players watching today, they have to literally be salivating over this, Mark. This is an outstanding 5-pack. It's a supercharged late pick 5. They've got a big guaranteed pool, low takeout wager as well, and a really, really good 5-race sequence. Lots of depth. I think there's going to be a lot of value along the way, so we'll see how it plays out. Mick Pleasant, number 1 on Post Parade. This one is a son of Mick Wicked. Anthony Beaton trains. He co-owns with David Mercer of Nova Scotia and James McDonald driving. 3 wins in 9 this season, including 2 consecutive coming in.
There was a look at the 2, Always a Thrill. We'll talk more about Always a Thrill and the connections in just a moment. We'll skip now to number 3, Why Wouldn't You? Austin Sorey does the driving. 1 for 13 this season, but trying to get things going back in the right direction as we'll continue on.
Brudon, a long shot. He's 0 for 11 this season, trying to break out in a big way. Louis-Philippe Awa will do the driving from post 4.
We'll get a look at the 5 in just a second. That'll be Watching Sunset for Craig Bars. He's the owner-trainer, shares ownership with Nurko Sokolovic. 3 for 11 this season, 5 top 2 finishes. Double J, Jody Jamieson in the bike.
That's Tony Hahn, and he's on board 7 Stonebridge Thrill, if I could say it. Another Anthony Beaton trainee in the field. And this guy 0 for 9 this season. That's remarkable to me. A very talented colt, better than that record indicates.
We just saw the 8 there for a second. Lakers Bank, as Trevor Henry will drive for trainer Tim Myers. 4 for 10 this season and 8 times in the top 3. Very consistent check getter, $42,000 earned.
And Hambo runner-up from the weekend, Bob McClure back in town, driving the 9DA McDreamy. A colt that put together a really nice rookie campaign. He made $52,000. He was getting better as the season wore on. He's been disappointing to this point in this season, 0 for 8 coming in, although a couple of his recent lines have been better, and it looks like the 9, or 6, I should say, Zeb's Crafty is now on the track.
So that's the field, a field of 9. And Greg, I mentioned it as we were going through the post parade there, as we saw number 2, Always a Thrill. And we would be remiss if we didn't take a moment to speak about Hall of Fame trainer, the legend Bob McIntosh, who recently passed away. This horse, as part of the Bob McIntosh stables, now racing as Jeff Williams has taken over the training duties in this time. But such a big loss for our industry. It's really hard to sum it up.
Yeah, it's a big void that can never be filled, frankly. It's hard to imagine horse racing in Ontario without Bob McIntosh in it. As I was growing up as a youngster, his name was synonymous with quality at the highest level. And I remember some of the great horses he had back in the day, and just year after year, you simply come to expect that he was going to put horses on the racetrack that were going to be competing in those Grand Circuit Stakes, and just a master horseman. Trained some of the greatest to ever compete, and then built up a powerful breeding operation as well. So he just sort of kept things rolling year after year after year. So really a big loss, and one of those guys that was unique in the industry when you see how much success he had in different facets.
Yeah, you're right, and that's the thing. You talk about the breeding aspect now. The champions and the star horses and the horses that have gone on to earn a lot of money and rack up a lot of wins that Bob McIntosh has been part of breeding. That alone would be enough probably to get him into the Hall of Fame. But then you talk about the training over the years and so many of those top horses that he had. Thinking Out Loud's victory in the North America Cup's been replayed an awful lot over the last little bit. You go back to a lot of these great fillies, these LA fillies over the last decade plus, and then the success they've had with their foals. Art's Place, you just go on and on and on. And you could be here all day talking about it. That's just the legacy he has left.
Yeah, exactly. Who's who? Did you have a favorite Bob McIntosh horse over the years?
That's a tough question. I guess, for me, probably because really the height of my fandom as a teenager in the sport, definitely the Thinking Out Loud victory is just so memorable, right? So it's easy for me to go back to that. You think about what could have been one of the best horses maybe ever had that never we didn't get to see at 3 was Western Shooter, right? And a lot of people always bring up what could have been there, just how talented he was.
And that stuck with Bob for a long time because he absolutely felt that way. So you think of all the, great horses that he had. And, I remember him telling me that he thought Western Shooter was maybe the very best, at the point when, unfortunately, he passed on. So, yeah, big loss. And, again, we want to recognize Bob McIntosh and send our condolences to the entire McIntosh family. Want to also send along condolences to another well-known, highly respected family in the industry, the Lilly family, on the recent passing of Ruleen Lilly. Wonderful woman, and had a tremendous impact on the harness racing industry, and especially in the southwestern part of Ontario, and all her work with Mac Lilly Farms over the years, and all the wonderful work she did in the industry. So, again, the passing of Ruleen Lilly, very sad news to hear, and we want to pass our condolences along to the entire Lilly family. Starting 8 rolling for race 7. It's the first of our 5 packed today. Great way to kick things off. It's a grassroots division of Ontario Sire Stakes for 3-year-old colt pacers, and the man who will call the action today is Gary Guy.
And Brudon has gone off stride. Field for the 7th race. Second grassroots division for 3-year-old pacing colts and geldings, in blasting from the outside is Lakers Bank, and McPleasant on the inside. Lakers Bank is going to try to come right out and get the lead, and is able to do so. McPleasant is second, Always a Thrill is third. Then it is Why Wouldn't You, Watching Sunset, and D.A. McDreamy. Then Stonebridge Thrill and Zeb's Crafty, but Lakers Bank was fired up early. 19-1 on the board, has the lead. The 4-5 McPleasant is racing second. Always a Thrill is in line third. Why Wouldn't You is currently racing fourth as they race off that opening quarter, which was 27-1. And then fifth is Watching Sunset, gap of a couple to D.M. McDreamy. Then Stonebridge Thrill, Zeb's Crafty, and Brudon is well back after that early miscue. 27-1 the opening quarter. And it is still Lakers Bank as McPleasant just biding time in the pocket right now. And Always a Thrill is on the inside third. Now Watching Sunset's the one we're watching move on the outside and has come on to take over fourth. And now popping out goes to Always a Thrill as McPleasant stayed on the inside. It is Lakers Bang. McPleasant on the outside. Always a Thrill has come on to take over second. Then on the inside, McPleasant is third, still in the pocket. Watching Sunset fourth. Why Wouldn't You? Stonebridge Thrill a half was 56-1 at 29 seconds. Second pedal breather for Lakers Bank as they race on to the final turn. Lakers Bank and Always a Thrill and McPleasant. Watching Sunset fourth. Stonebridge Thrill is kicking in a bit late, and on the inside, Why Wouldn't You? Three quarters, 123-4. Lakers Bank is still game. Lakers Bank and always a thrill. And McPleasant and Watching Sunset on down the stretch drive. They come. Lakers Bank continues on. Lakers Bank is going to score it 19-1. Second is between Always a Thrill and McPleasant. And then it was Watching Sunset. 151-4. That is a huge mile for Lakers Bank and a record for a 3-year-old here at Grand River.
That is a track record performance for the 3-year-olds. As Gary Guy mentioned, Lakers Bank, I don't know about you, Mark. I didn't see that one coming from post 8 especially.
I think I mentioned it during the post break, just what a consistent check getter this horse has been with 42,000 plus made this year, 8 top 3 finishes, but hadn't posted a victory since grassroots division back on June 18th. Racing well, but just nothing like that where he has been put in play the way that Trevor Henry did this afternoon. Knew he was going to be strong, and he just drove on. You know, after the opening quarter, it looked like McPleasant was going to pop the 2-hole and just kind of sweep around and get control as the favorite in this race, but Trevor Henry kept the hammer down, and clearly he knew why he was keeping the hammer down, because he had the best horse here today. Track record effort, 151-4.
He beat some very, very nice colts in the process as well. So a nice winning effort for Lakers Bank today. He is now 5 for 11 on the season. And with that win, it's going to vault him over $50,000 in seasonal earnings. This guy has been in the grassroots a couple of times. 2 back at Woodbine, he had post 1 there. Didn't really factor a whole lot, although he did kick home in 27 seconds to finish 5th, and did win, though, in grassroots action back on June 18th. So overlooked today, likely because of post position, but we talked about that off the top, that what we've been impressed about on this track from what we've seen so far is that horses can win from any post position and any type of trip.
And he was almost crossed over before they even hit the turn. That's how fast he was off the wings, as Trevor Henry was able to snap him out of there and got to the lead. I mean, the second quarter in 29 seconds, he was really able to really back them down in that second eighth of the second quarter, but he kept kind of motoring on to make sure they were going to continue to show the way. Third quarter, though, took it up 27-3, and that's the thing, the way this track is set up now, you're going to see some fast third quarters as they rock down the backstretch, but he still had plenty left, kicking home in 28 seconds to secure the victory, eclipsing the previous track records of 152 by 3-year-old Pacing Colt at Ease Hanover. He's a gelding here, is Lakers Bank. He already broke that record as well, which was 52-1. So a new track record here today.
Look at the winning connections making their way back, adorned with the Ontario Sire Stakes 50th anniversary blanket. Happy birthday to the OSS program, one of the very best, certainly in the world. And Lakers Bank, never better than he was today, 151-4. Trevor Henry, a man who knows his way around the venue here, certainly, but a little bit of new territory for him today, being that, we're on this 5/8 mile oval. So you've got to like seeing that here in the start of our coverage today. It bodes well for the type of exciting racing we could see the rest of the way here this afternoon. We'll take another commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have the prices and set things up for the 8th race when we return.
Harness Racing Update is the sport's most comprehensive and timely news source. HRU covers the sport from all angles with news, features, photography, opinion, and analysis of racing. Also, HRU covers breeding and sales, as well as industry stories you need to know. It's all delivered by a deep, diverse, and talented team of writers and photographers. And the best news is that it's free to subscribe. Subscribe to HRU today for free at harnessracingupdate.com and see what everyone is talking about.
Winback Farm of Canada is home to 9 exceptional stallions, including Beach Glass, the last great son of legendary sire of sires, Some Beach Somewhere. Also new in 2024, Lawless Shadow, an O'Brien Award winner for 2-year-old pacing colts and geldings. Double millionaire betting line, sire of 5 winners of over $400,000. Rick Wicked, the richest pacing stallion in harness racing history, and Hall of Fame inductee. Trixton, sire of 6 who have earned over $500,000, including O'Brien Award winner Evident Beauty. Also standing Archangel, Better Than Cheddar, Better's Delight, and My MVP. For more information, winbackfarm.com.
And welcome back. Here's a look at the prices, the pari-mutuel details, some very nice pari-mutuel details as well. Lakers Bank, a $41 winner, triggering a superfecta worth more than $1,100. And talk about putting a charge into the supercharged late pick 5. What a way to start it off. So anyone who got off the blocks with Trevor Henry there in Lakers Bank have to be excited about what could lie ahead. A pool of a little over 18,000 wagered into the late pick 5 here today.
Yeah, well, that's a good, healthy pool on this Monday afternoon, but can't be a whole lot of money still alive because that's a $41 winner. I'm still scratching my head from that effort. So I think there's a possibility, like you said, if you got out of this first leg and things maybe go formful, maybe you know something that we don't know as well that could be coming up. But if you're alive still, like you said, you got to be licking your chops for what could be a real nice holiday payday, so to speak, here on Industry Day.
Yeah, we didn't have Lakers Bank. Neither of us saw him winning from post 8 there. So we need a little bit of help today. Let us know, those tuning in, who you like the rest of the way. I've got a nice sequence coming up in the late pick 4 as well, and a $7,500 guaranteed pool in that. So that's going to get it attractive to horse players as well. And the pool size is just going to increase here as we move on the rest of the day. They set a record wagering number here last year, a little bit shy of 600,000, which was a record, and they're hoping to top that today, and by all accounts off to a good start. So do your part if you're playing along today and see if you can help get over that $600,000 hurdle in overall handle, which again would be a record today. Great tilt in race 7. We don't diminish on the talent scale at all here at race number 8. We'll give you a look at the field here. There is another heavy favorite from post 1, the Vicar, a rare free-legged 3-year-old pacing colt that has looked almost flawless in his last 5-6 starts.
He's been racing so well this season, has the Vicar, who is a son of Art Speak. He, on the season, has 5 wins from 9 starts, 7 top 2 finishes. His most recent start was a career best 150-3. And you mentioned, rare that you see a free-legged 3-year-old pacer as well. The one thing I notice about him is the racing style. Can be versatile. Doesn't have to go forward always. Has got some good final quarter speed that he can flash, including coming home 26-3 in his last start, and just 3 starts ago kicked home in 26-2. So you can kind of do it any which way, and Louis Waugh will drive once again today. He was the reinsman in that last victory. So a bit of a standout on paper here, but maybe someone's going to upset the apple cart once again. And I think based on what we just saw in that last division, you don't want to sleep on any of them. You got to take a bit of a closer look in what is a nice field of 9. And I think we definitely have to talk about who the post 9 starter is going to be in this race, as it's last year's Battle of Waterloo winner.
That's right. Do Better is his name, and what a campaign it was for him last year. Made almost $250,000, and this season he's come back good. He just hasn't taken that step forward, and you see that with some horses, but looks like he'll be a factor here, I think, especially trailing out a couple of the favorites, the Vicar and Tamworth Boy. They do go 8 wide here. We should remind people of that. 8 wide and 1 trailer here on the new 5/8 mile oval. So good looking tilt coming up here. Looking ahead, of course, to the Battle of the Bells and the Battle of Waterloo. We've got some other connections that we're going to catch up with and get their thoughts. Now, Bob McClure, we talked about a good weekend for him, and he was red hot in winning the Battle of the Bells eliminations last week.
It was a really good last Monday night for Bob McClure, as he got to the winner's circle a few times in the Battle of the Bells eliminations. But on a day like today, you need to have that luck come back for you. And if I'm not mistaken, I think we got a scratch of Perfectly Chic out of the elimination. So That's a tough blow if you're Bob McClure.
Absolutely. It's really bittersweet, right? He had so much success last week, and she was the morning line favorite coming in. Talked to Gracie Barr, the caretaker there, a little bit earlier, and said it was just a bit of sickness. They think she's going to be fine, but just wasn't going to be able to compete here this afternoon. So, you feel terrible for the Connections. She would have been one of the big players in here, but they've got to look out for her. They've got a long season still left and a lot to look forward to with her. But nonetheless, we did hear from Bob McClure and both of those elimination winners from a week ago. So we'll bring up that clip now and hear his thoughts from last week's eliminations.
Millie Mae Hanover is moving on the outside. Darlene's Angel, Millie Mae Hanover. Saddle Bags, famous fast words, is getting closer from the backfield. Manhattan Mayhem now is out there 3 wide and looking to put some mayhem into things and is coming hard. 3/4, 1:23 and 4. Manhattan Mayhem. Millie Mae Hanover's got the lead. Manhattan Mayhem and famous fast words on down the stretch. Round they come. Millie Mae Hanover. Manhattan Mayhem is motoring to the finish. Manhattan Mayhem at 9-1 is a winner. Second was famous fast words, and third is between. It had to
Manhattan again. She was really good her first start, and typical young horse. Tried not to let her get too tired, but tried to. I raced her late instead of a few different quarters, but she really kicked home. She showed a lot more interest, which was good. Going to Kawartha for the grassroots, Scott Young asked me about her, and I told him that she won't get beat. Nobody can touch her in the grassroots. And, going into this race here tonight, she was even more on her toes, even more interested. And going into the last turn when they started to come back to us, she was just getting started. And she had lots left in the stretch, so real happy with her. Well, this event has always been real good to my, close to my heart. This track is where I got started. And, it was the closest thing to a home track. I always really wanted to win the Battle of Waterloo. And I've been lucky enough to win the Battle of the Bells. But it's just a real fun day, and I think it's a day that most people in Southern Ontario horse race community have circled on their calendar. I think you'll see a lot more gold fillies trying the Battle of the Bells this year and gold colts in the Battle of Waterloo. And these new turns are very wide, very forgiving turns, and I think that that helps keep horses sound. So I think in the past, a lot of people, if you had a real fast 2-year-old, you didn't want to race on a half. Well, that isn't the issue anymore. But having said that, the way the track's configured with a long start to the first turn, that's why you see these fast quarters. So I'm guessing that you're probably going to see a 51, 52 mile in the finals this year.
And again, that was Bob McClure following the eliminations last weekend. He swept both filly splits, Manhattan Mayhem and Perfectly Chic. He opted for Perfectly Chic in the final, and as we mentioned, tough fortune today with that filly coming up scratch. So Doug McNair will get the drive on Manhattan Mayhem, and Bob really spoke highly of both. And I know it was a tough division. It was really, or decision, I should say. It was splitting hairs, as they say, between the two fillies, who both raced fantastic and both did it in slightly different styles. Perfect Chic first up a long way, while Manhattan Mayhem was circling up on the wide side around horses and turned in that eye-catching rally. Well, let's turn our attention back to the 3-year-old Colt and Gelding Pacers, our second OSS Grassroots division. Another really deep, talented group, and the Vicar at even money. What do you think? Justified?
I think so. I mean, I just was mentioning it a few moments ago, the fact that those last couple of miles have just he's showing so much, whether it's early speed or late speed. He's versatile, right? And I think for Louis Waugh, it's just getting him away from the rail quickly. Probably going to do the road work, I would think, or he'll just quarter pole and put him on the lead and see how far he can go. But a mile like the one he turned in last time at Woodbine Mohawk Park, in a non-winners of 2, that you get a few other horses in there that aren't just Ontario sired as well, and they can be deep enough races at this time of the year. It was eye-catching, and he showed enough determination as well to get himself up for that victory.
It was the son of All Bets Off winning in the first division that we had a look at, and that stallion well represented here. Posts 2, 3, and 4, all sons of All Bets Off, and all 4 look very competitive in here, and good value on each of those. The 2's Tamworth Boy, Jody Jameson, Murray Breather. Narrow third place lost in grassroots action last time out. Bet the BB, this one a homebred. for Team Cullen. So we've seen more of their youngsters hitting the racetrack, offspring of good mares that they have campaigned, and so they're keeping things going in the pipeline as well.
Yeah, they are, and a lot of the times the focus for them has been primarily on the overnight horses, the older horses that they can race week in and week out, that pay the bills, and more than that, really, they have had just a tremendous 2024. The Cullen stable doing a lot more than just paying the bills. I mean, they've been racking up the earnings, racking up the victories, but as well dabbling with some of the younger horses and having good results as well. So we'll keep an eye on Bet the BB to be a possible player in here. Another horse I want to talk about is the 6 Price Control, who came over to Grand River a week ago on July 26th and set the track record in 152-1 for a 3-year-old gelding. Well, his track record just got broken, so who knows what he's got for a follow-up. It is deeper company. It would be a bit of a surprise. He's 17-1 currently here, but I always like that familiarity in a horse that's shown success on a track. It's something to at least keep in mind. Maybe worth mixing this guy in on your ticket.
Any Family Guy fans out there? We've got Giggity from Post 7.
Oh, if you're going to do it, you got to commit to the bit, Greg. Come on.
I was starting to get committed, and then I got tongue-tied. Absolutely.
I will say, when this guy came out to baby race... Why don't you give it a try? I'm not even, no shot. But when I remember he baby raced last year, one of his qualifiers, and I was on the mic at Woodbine Mohawk Park, and it was like everything in me not to try. And then even when you say it, did I say enough Giggity? Well, they're having a lot of fun with that name, and who knows, maybe he can make something happen in here. He's a 4-time winner this year.
Yeah, and he's raced at Woodbine the last few starts. I don't know. I'm trying to think back if I heard Kenny get into character on that one or not.
I feel like if he had, it would have got shared pretty far across social media. So maybe he's been waiting on that one. Who knows? Maybe Gary Guy will get the opportunity.
For sure. Kenny, speaking of Kenny, I see he's got Bob Blah Blah, his horse, another catchy name. He's on the comeback trail. He's won a couple of times. He won Saturday night in Charlottetown in 155. And word is he's down there for the Gold Cup and Saucer trials.
It's been a long time coming, right? That was a long rehab, and you love to see it. Got back on the track, and not just back to the track, but also once he got to the winter start. What a good feeling. So I know Kenny's going to have a lot of fun with him.
Yeah, so, Gold Cup and Saucer trials, and I think we're going to find out tomorrow who will be here. That's always a lot of fun, a lot of anticipation. The rumor mill gets to overdrive as people start to wonder who will show up in Charlottetown for those trials. And it's looking like they're probably going to have 3 and maybe even 4 eliminations this year. Some big names headed down there, and probably a few we haven't even heard of that are going to surprise. So I believe the word comes out tomorrow on that. People on the East Coast getting excited for that. Fun time of year. So much going on everywhere. That's why we love the sport. As we get a look at the Monpost Parade here for this really good-looking tilt. And that's the beauty of the OSS program, Mark. The drop-off, if you want to call it that, from gold to grassroots, it's not very steep anymore.
No, it isn't. And I know for a lot of trainers, maybe they think, the gold is just a little too much. And there is a lot of talent at the gold ranks. Doesn't matter what division we're talking about. I mean, the North America Cup winner this year, Nijinsky, right? He's maybe one of the best 3-year-old pace colts in the sport, and he's OSS. So it is tough. It's tough sledding at the top there. Personally, I'd love to see a few more take those cracks at the gold level. And I know at the end of the day, everybody's got to manage their horse and make their own game plan for their own business here. But you get down to the grassroots level here, it's not much easier. There is a lot of talent at these ranks and horses that can go some pretty big miles.
And I'm going to put my London Classic yearling sale hat on now as well. We'll see a couple of graduates of the sale here. An exciting time for us, too, is this is the weekend where we wait until this weekend, and then we do the last update for the sales catalogs before they go to print. And, that's a bit of a process getting those to print and getting them out in the mail. So the last big update comes here. And for these youngsters in the Ontario Sire Stakes program or Ontario Sire events, there can be very significant updates, certainly for that catalog, and it's exciting for me. I get to watch horses that we saw go through our sales ring a year or two ago competing here this afternoon. A couple of graduates in here, as mentioned, and one of them is the horse you touched on, who set a track record last time, Price Control.
Yeah, Price Control brought 24,000 a couple years back. Next door neighbor Chesterman the 5, who I'm a little surprised is 15-1 right now. He'd need a bit of a bounce back from his last few efforts, but he brought $72,000 at the London Classic yearling sale. So it just shows again. You can go to a sale, and depending what your budget is, you can swing for some of the big ones, or you can find a nice racehorse pretty much in anybody's price range. They're so well bred these days, and looking forward to the London Classic yearling sale. It'll be a fun couple of days coming up in October, and I like to bring that up. I don't think a lot of people would know when they see those catalogs. They wonder, why is there no note of that victory in the super final or victory in that stake in September? But you're right, it is a process, and you want to get those out pretty much as early as possible, but as updated as possible, so everybody can start their prep as we get real close to yearling sale season.
Yeah, for sure. And, for folks that are interested, keep tuned into the website as well, londonclassic.ca, and we'll have the catalog pages up there once they are fully updated and available to go up online. And then you get the track it links, which are great because if you click on those links on the website, once they're uploaded, then you can get the most up-to-date information on there as well. And of course the videos, they'll be coming along in the next few weeks as well and get posted there too. So it's the cycle, it's the yearly cycle of horse racing that is so much fun to watch and keeps everyone engaged 12 months a year, year-round.
It never stops, that's for sure. And I look at a group of 3-year-old pacing colts and geldings like this, and there's horses in here that in a couple of years' time, maybe even next year, you'll talk about them as potential free-fallers at Woodbine Mohawk Park. That's the thing that seems to come from the grassroots, is a lot of these horses have plenty of ability. A lot of them are tough, and as they get a little older and a little more experienced, they do work their way up the ranks. So you never know who you could be talking about. I think the perfect example of the grassroots, specifically in Ontario, is So Much More, and what she went on to be. And as a 3-year-old filly, a lot of people probably didn't really even know who she was. So you never know what these horses could do as they move forward. I see right here 4 to 5 has not really changed on the Vicar from the rail. I'll play against him here. I'm going to try somebody else, and I'm going to look at Trevor Henry maybe to come with another repeat. How about Chesterman for an upset?
Okay, and we're looking for that giggity, giggity, giggity call from Gary Guy. Up to him now with the call of the upcoming 8th.
For the 8th race, the third and final division of the OSS Grassroots for 3-year-old pacing colts and geldings, and they're in the backstretch, gathering speed, approaching the start. The field for the 8th race at a Monday afternoon at Grand River Raceway. In behind the gate, they've reached the start. And they're off, and it is Logan Behold flashing speed with Price Control. Tamworth Boy on the inside, and Giggity, Giggity, Giggity is moving 3 wide on around the turn. Now 4th is Logan Behold, and 5th is the Vicar on the inside. Then it is Sports Activator. Back to Bet the BB and Do Better, and then it is Chesterman. But Tamworth Boy at 12 to 1, and Double J's got the lead. Price Control at a price of 50 to 1 right now is filling the pocket. And racing third is Logan Behold, and James McDonald now up and driving the Vicar, and Louis Waz moving first over and is being followed by Sports Activator second over 5th. 6th to the inside is Giggity, Giggity, Giggity. Then it is back to Chesterman, Bet the BB, and then Do Better has to pass them all. They race their way on into the backstretch for the second time. 26 seconds opening quarter, and half of 55, a 29-second panel. The Vicar's taken the lead from Tamworth Boy, but now up and driving Sports Activator, and Chesterman, who was well back early, now is on the move and is about to take over third. Tamworth Boy's on the inside racing fourth. Do Better now is doing a lot better. He's up to 5th and only about 4 off the lead in closing. Hard Price Control is 6th, then Logan Behold. And then it is back to Giggity, 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 and Bet the BB, and it is the Vicar trying to fend off Sports Activator at 30 to 1, and racing third is Chesterman. Tamworth Boy and Dew, better in price control. And look and behold, they turn for home. Sports Activator, slim lead against the Victor, who tries to rally down to the inside, and Chesterman. It is Sports Activator, but the Vicar on the inside is game. The Vicar is going to turn back Sports Activator and win it. And Chesterman is third. Logan Behold fourth. 151-1. The Vicar. Well, that track record lived for about 20 minutes, boys.
Track records are falling all over the place here today. This time it is the Vicar as expected. I just don't know if it was expected he would have to work as hard as he did, Mark. Number 8, Sports Activator. He really made the Vicar earn this 51-1 victory. Both colts tremendous.
Yeah, both raced real strong and showed a lot of grit. If you go back to the early stages of this race, you know, the horse I mentioned was the 5 Chesterman. He finished third. He didn't get off the wings with a whole lot of speed, and as Trevor was heading towards the back, he ended up just staying on the outside because Sports Activator from post 8 never got to the rail either. So both of them sat parked the whole trip. Sports Activator, though, had to do the heavy lifting and worked his way eventually up there to challenge going to 3/4 and digs in gamely to fight right to the wire against a great winner in the Vicar. That's a well-earned second from Sports Activator, but the Vicar, you said it, had to be all marks today to get the job done in a sparkling time of 151-1.
And as mentioned, he races without pacing hobbles, and that's no problem for this guy. Son of Art Speak has been pretty much flawless of late. That's a second consecutive win now, and he's 6 for 10 this year after going 3 for 4 last year. He started his career in Eastern Canada, took his 58-1 freshman record at the Summerside Raceway, the half-mile oval in Summerside, PEI, and he's moved to Ontario, and he's made quite a splash so far. The $10,000 share for the victory there is going to put him up over $44,000 this season, and this guy's owned by Nova Scotia Interests, the GLB stable of Lakeview, Nova Scotia. And interesting here, too, that Tyler Moore does the training. He had been driving all along, hands over the lines in the last couple to Louis, and that combination's obviously been a good one.
Yeah, we've noticed that a little bit over the last several weeks, at least when it comes to horses that are trained by Tyler Moore. Hasn't necessarily kept himself in the bike, has been putting his training hat on. He's got over 80 starts this season as a trainer on top of the driving duties that he'll do as well. So turns things over to Louis Waugh, been a perfect fit for the Vicar, who was second the first time they teamed up, then a winner and a non-winners of 2 event, and now wins once again. So he goes back-to-back, and now 2 for 3 with Louis Waugh doing the driving. But you mentioned overall he's got 6 wins, this horse. It's been a real good campaign. I talked about that he's got a lot of versatility based on how he's been able to race, whether he's had to sit from off or do a little more road work up front. Today was about as much road work as he's had to show, and he showed he's got that tool as well and shown that he's got a lot of grit, this horse.
Coming back into the winner's enclosure, the Vicar getting it done as the favorite. So for the pick 5 players, a lot of people likely knocked out in that opening leg. The Vicar, on the other hand, going to keep a lot of people in play after 2 legs, and we'll start the late pick 4 as well. Nice pool in the late pick 4, by the way, $16,000 plus. So the horse players are diving in today in a big way, and certainly those in the pick 5 that are still going set up for potentially a big return. We'll see how the rest of the late pick 4 sequence plays out. Louis-Philippe Waugh engineers the win here with the Vicar in our second division of the OSS. Let's take another commercial break. We'll be back with the Buttonup Preferred next.
Love horse racing? HPIBet.com is Canada's leader in online horse betting. Access thousands of live races from hundreds of tracks worldwide instantly. Enjoy the most advanced betting tools like AI Smart Picks and exclusive cashback rewards you won't get anywhere else. Join today and get up to $100 in free bets. Get the ultimate horse betting experience with HPIBet.com.
Reach the people you have to reach by advertising in Harness Racing Update, the sport's most comprehensive and timely news source. HRU provides the best bang for your advertising dollars because we reach and engage your potential customers anywhere in the world. Not only has HRU grown its subscriber base by nearly 30% in just 3 years, but our open and click rates far exceed industry averages, which tells us that readers are engaged with the digital publication and how they receive it. Plus, your ad support helps us keep HRU free to subscribers. Find out more today by visiting harnessracingupdate.com and clicking on the advertising link at the top of the page.
Win one soon in Supersonic Jet. Bob Ben and John's got the lead. Go, Daddy, go. And John Campbell bearing down from second, just about a half length from the front. And on the inside third is Sporting the Look as they are about to turn for home in the Battle of Waterloo. 3/4, 125 and 3. Bob Ben and John is clinging to a tenuous lead. Go, Daddy, go is charging for John Campbell as they come on down the lane. And Sportskeeper to the outside, up the inside now is Sporting the Look as they come to the finish. On the outside, go, Daddy, go. Go, Daddy, go. It's a Hall of Fame Battle of Waterloo. Then on the inside, Sporting the Look in third was Bob Ben and John. 1:55 flat. Go, Daddy, go.
That was the flashy Go Daddy Go for the late Bob McIntosh. He teamed up that day with John Campbell, his lone trip to Grand River. And as you would expect, when you get Campbell McIntosh teaming up, good things always seem to happen.
Yeah, that was a special day. You just mentioned it. You got Bob McIntosh, John Campbell, their great history, all their success, Hall of Famers, come to a day like Industry Day. I think it was just novel enough to see them racing on Industry Day, but then to get the job done with Go Daddy Go, certainly one of the more memorable races in the history of the Battle of Waterloo, which dates all the way back to 1998, was the inaugural edition when Distinctive Sealster won it, or a Skeeter won it, I should say. Carl Jamieson. We talk about Jody's success. Well, Carl, he won the first as well in the bike.
Yeah, Carl won it twice as a driver, and he's won it 6 times overall as a trainer. He's teamed up with Jody 4 separate times. So what a combination. The only other father-son combination that's close to that is that of Greg and Doug McNair. And that's been quite a battle over the years. And they're all involved again this season as well. There's a look at the results. The victor, popular winner, $2.40. The vicar, I should say. He was the victor. Sports Activator, again, a fantastic runner-up effort there. The Chesterman finishing 3rd. And Logan Behold able to snatch the 4th place finish. The Super, despite a heavy favorite on top, $889. A nice one there. So, long shot to start the late pick 5. Prohibitive favorite in the opening leg of the late pick 4. We're going to switch gears now, and we're going to a preferred pace in race number 9, named in honor of Buttonup. And again, for those just joining us, maybe those who don't know the full history of the Battle of Waterloo, Buttonup was a past winner of the event, and that's something in itself, but it was what he did after. He came back on 3 different occasions to win the preferred race on the undercard on Industry Day, and a real nice touch, I think, from the team here at Grand River to name this race after him.
It is, and you like to recognize those past champions, but again, I talked about it earlier in the show. Buttonup, he won here, and then he came back and he did it time after time again. A fan favorite in these parts, and a lot of these Battle of Waterloo champions maybe don't ever come back to Grand River Raceway, but he was one that definitely did and has left a legacy. So I agree. Nice touch here on a day like today to name the preferred pace in his honor.
So Mark Horner, who owned and campaigned the horse during his career, he'll be on hand today for the presentation. And yeah, it was Jenna McDonnell, when the idea first came up, she thought it was a fantastic one and ran with it. And here we are. And we should give Jenna a shout out at her first season as the new GM here at Grand River Raceway, and doing a fantastic job. She's a perfect fit here. I think she's loving it, and had a little trip back east last week, a planned trip with family, Dad Paul and the entire family, kind of recharge the batteries and visit friends and family back there, I think for Chestico days, I believe, in Cape Breton. And so she's back, and pretty excited about her first industry day, and why not? And another great event. We were looking across the way. Really nice crowd taking in the action as we see each and every year. And what a venue, too. It really is. For people that have never been here, if you're in the area and can never make it to Grand River, it's a great on-track experience and a facility that's really second to none.
It is. I think one thing, if you haven't been here in the last few years, is the addition of the Grand Way, which I guess it's a banquet hall. Conferences can be held there. Also a simulcast, the restaurant in there, just as you're beside the paddock. So coming into that, well, used to be the first turn. I guess that's the second turn now in a race here.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
that is such a great spot. The patio there is amazing. You still can go out on the apron here or just in the grandstand seats and take in all the action. So something for everybody. But I will say, I think that addition over there heading into the turn, it certainly is one of the best spots to watch racing in Ontario.
Yeah, if you were out for a drive in this part of the province and didn't know anything about Grand River or Elora, and you were driving in, the last thing you would expect to find is a world-class 5/8 mile racetrack in this beautiful little hamlet of Elora, and it would be a pleasant surprise for sure. And and the team do a great job here. Of course, Jenna and Katie Kitty and Isaac and the entire team here, Doug McKeag, the track guy. Big tip of the hat to him, because quite a project to finish racing last year on the half-mile oval and do an entire transformation and have this place ready to rock at the 1st of June this year.
Yeah, it was such a big project, right? I know I would drive up through Elora every once in a while and always look and take a peek and see the progress and just be amazed by how quickly things were getting done. And then when the season was getting ready to start, from the day the first horses came out here to train, good feedback about the track. I think, like a lot of people said, it was going to take some time for things to settle and get into that groove. But all of a sudden, here we are now into early August. The season is well underway, 2 months strong now here at Grand River Raceway, and nothing but really good vibes, I think it's safe to say.
All right, I'm going to check our feed again here. Andy Carnegie watching in, and he says Grand River reminds him of Harris Chester, which is an interesting comparison as well. Again, Mark Anderson tuning in. He's got a little pick 3 play for us here. Really likes post 5 starter Wicked and Single in the Battle of the Bells. In fact, that will be his single in the late pick 3 play as well. JD Vernell tuning in. He's got some results to pass along from out of town. He's been watching, and boy, does anyone watch more racing than JD, a good friend of the show. Every day we have racing on here. He's tracking, of course, what we are, but then he's watching 3 or 4 other tracks as well. So not sure what kind of a setup he's got there, but hopefully got a nice man cave and a bunch of signals that he can pull in. But yeah, great to have everybody tuning in today, as always. And make sure you let us know where you are watching from today. It's a really North American-wide audience that's been tuning in. Everyone who does leave a comment on any of our social feeds today will be entered for a swag prize package that we'll give out following the show. So the Buttonup Preferred, here we go. Great looking field of 9. We should maybe bring up the overall track records here at Grand River Raceway. So again, we're about the midway point of the season. As you would expect, going to 5/8 this year, track records have been falling almost nightly as we get a look at the field there. But on the overall pacing and trotting side, we'll bring up those records. It's Ideal Perception, who we're going to see here. He is your overall track record holder here currently with a 150-4 win a couple of starts back.
It was a big performance by Ideal Perception, who he's raced so well over the last few years. It doesn't matter what half-mile track it was in Ontario. He seemed to just tear it up, especially the track here at Grand River. He had so much success. So when it transitioned to a 5/8, I know some people question, oh, what's that going to do for Ideal Perception? Well, he's still got the track record here. He's just done it now on a 5/8, 150-4. That was a couple starts, or a little bit earlier in the season, but a couple starts back, he went 51-1. So he has been racing pretty well here, week in and week out at Grand River Raceway. My question is, how fast are we going to go in this race? Because we just saw a 51-1 mile from the 3-year-old Pacers in a grassroots event. I look at this group for this Buttonup Preferred. You've got horses that are coming in from Woodbine Mohawk Park that are kind of Saturday night horses, whether that be a Magical Arthur or also a Palladium Hanover. You know, those horses, they go big miles. They're capable of it. I think, and maybe I'm going on a limb, maybe we can push sub 150. I mean, the conditions are pretty nice. It's warm. Hard to tell how the breeze is right now from where we are in the infield. Maybe there is a bit of a breeze, but hey, I don't think it's off the table that you couldn't see a 49 and 4 mile or something right around 50 flat.
All right. I love
we
it.
Got hot takes,
I
right?
love
Every
it.
once
The
in a while.
bold prediction here, and yeah, I love it. And I think you're right. I think we've got the horses here to do that. A little bit breezy right now. Not sure if that will hinder things or not, but you said it. 51-1 the last race, so the track is spot on. And we will see. They've got their game face on in the paddock, and they'll be heading out in just a few moments from now for the post parade. Want to say hi to Denise Bond. She's tuning in from New Brunswick today. Says she's going to be visiting Ontario next week and can't wait to see the new track. Denise, I think you're going to love it. And yeah, especially if you've never been here before, I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised with what you see here. Laurie McLean's tuning in from Petrolia, Ontario as well. Hi to those folks today. Getting a look there at Nighttime Dancer, your post 3 starter. So Tyler Moore, his trainee, emerging victorious back in the 8th race, and he'll be in the driver's seat for other connections in this upcoming race. He's driven Nighttime Dancer in each of the last 3, including a win 3 back at Georgian Downs over the 5/8 mile oval there. Not as much luck on the bigger track recently, but you look a little bit deeper down the page, he does show sub 150 speed at Woodbine Mohawk Park.
That's what I mean. There's a lot of back class when it comes to these horses, these preferred pacers. So it's not off the table, a big mile like that, and a horse like that to potentially step up in this spot. 6-5 right now, though, on the 4 Magical Arthur. When I saw the draw come out for this race and he drew the 4-hole and just his ability that he has, I thought he's going to be awfully tough to beat in here. I don't know if you agree with me, but I think the 4 Magical Arthur is a deserving favorite right now. 6-5 maybe a little low for what I'd be wanting, but at the time when I saw that, I certainly had him circled as my top play in here.
I agree. I think a big player. I expect him to be one of the horses threatening for the win in the late going. I also expect big things from Palladium Hanover. Team Cullen, everything they come to the racetrack with is competitive. Another that's been a regular at Mohawk, and I think will appreciate the switch of venue today. Post 1, though, interesting. It's not seen as certainly an advantage on this track. From post 1, you've got to be able to fire out of there in order to get yourself good position. In other words, you don't just land on the lead here from post 1. You've got to work for it a little bit, which levels the playing field and makes for really good racing, I think. So Palladium Hanover, big player for me. Ideal Perception, the veteran, just a war horse and loves this new track, obviously, based on the results we've seen from him. We'll talk about calling your bluff and Daryl Thiessen in the driver's seat. Maybe a quick thought on his recent return. Again, another unfortunate accident for him, a setback a few weeks back. And I'm going to say he took about half of the rehab time that was expected, and that's typical of Daryl, isn't it, from what we've seen?
Yeah, it is, and typical of a lot of catch drivers. This is their livelihood, and they want to be out there racing. And the one thing about Daryl, it was just such unfortunate timing to have an accident and to have a spill like he did at Flamborough back in late May. I mean, he had a drive the next night scheduled in the Camelot Classic. A lot of things were trending upwards for him. Now you hit another bit of a reset, and he's had to overcome those in the past, but he's been back in the bike and doing very well. You know, this season he's batting 260, over 100 wins already. Who knows what that number might have been at if he didn't have to miss I think it was around 4 or 5 weeks. So to have him back racing, it's one of those guys that you definitely cheer on, want to see him have continued success, and somebody I think will continue to get good opportunities going forward.
Yeah, despite the setback, he kept a good mental approach, and I think he has to. In the line of work that he's been in over the years, he was a bullfighter, right, originally. So,
you ever do that?
No, I never have, and I never will.
Nope.
I think it's safe to say at my age, well, at any age, actually.
Never say never, but I'm with you.
Nothing I really entertain the thought of.
Yeah, you got to be cut from a certain cloth to be jumping in a ring with bulls. That's definitely not going to be on my bucket list. But
you and I are lovers, not fighters.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll go with that. But it shows kind of the mental state, the mentality of a Daryl Thiessen, and not afraid to take on a challenge and to have to battle some.
Yeah, absolutely, and probably a bit of an adrenaline junkie too, and that was likely what drew him to driving horses. As you said, another new challenge that obviously he embraced and is good at, and so yeah, great to see him back and competing on days like this. He loves that, getting to sit behind a horse like Calling Your Bluff. Good-looking 4-year-old son of Down by the Seaside, who shows plenty of ability in here. He might get a little bit lost in the shuffle because there's so much talent, as we said. Post-9 starter, he's a handy man. It's good to see connections from Team Horner in here. Mark Horner, the owner, brother Mike trains and drives this guy, and of course the connections that campaigned Buttonup, the namesake of today's 11th or 9th race preferred.
Yeah, it would be so fitting for He's a Handyman to come through in this spot. As you can see right now, though, he is the longest shot on the board. Does start from the second tier, though. Might be able to get spotted in a decent position. He's a 5-time winner this year. He's a bit of a gritty horse, this now 7-year-old who's won 32 times in his career. So sure, sometimes things have to go your way, but it's funny how things sometimes work out on days like today.
And there's friend of the show, Tony Hahn, in the driver's seat of Ideal Perception. Anthony's a guy that really has caught on to the style of racing here over the new oval. He's been doing really, really well since racing returned here this season. He had been a staple or a mainstay at Grand River, but again, he's caught on to the driving style, maybe even a little quicker than some others, and that'll bode well for him, and especially with Ideal Perception, a horse he knows so well.
Well, in his last start, they just rocketed him out of there, 26-1 to the quarter. Got a little tired, I guess, at the end, which was fair, and he lost by half a length, but it was another really good effort over this Grand River track for Ideal Perception. I wonder if it, blasting out of here once again and trying the same tactic. There's a few different rivals in here this week that stack up pretty strongly against you, so do you let them maybe do some of the road work? I think we're going to see a hot opening quarter. There's no doubt that's going to happen in this race. It's just trying to figure out who that might come from in this spot, because that isn't necessarily Magical Arthur's game. And I don't know if James McDonald's just going to try and go down the road with him and thinking he's the best. I don't know if Palladium Hanover, that's his game either, although he's got some good gate speed. But you said it, you got to really get out of there well if you're going to do it from the rail. So maybe it's somebody else. Maybe it's a post-8 starter like we're seeing on our screen right now in Artie's Ideal. Maybe that's Sam Fillion's tactic to get his horse involved, one that is a bit of a long shot.
I feel you'll see at least one, maybe more of those outside horses blasting in here, because they all do show early speed, and you can leave from the outside with a horse that has that type of early foot. Ideal Perception fits the bill. Of course, Madman Hill, Artie's Ideal from Post 8. Quick look again at the overall track records. It does belong currently to Ideal Perception, 150-4. Mark is not sure if that's going to be standing following this race.
I think
and
it's
if
done.
it does
new record,
go,
I'm calling it.
Can Ideal Perception be the one to do it, or someone else? It is a really, really deep, talented field of 9. The inaugural Buttonup Preferred on Industry Day from Grand River Raceway. Back upstairs to track announcer Gary Guy.
Certainly does. A horse that I'm very fond of, and he's certainly
their positions, a field of 9, the Buttonup Preferred pace. Turning into the backstretch, gathering speed, approaching the start. Field for the 9th race is in position. And there at the start of the rough, an Ideal Perception is going to come flying out and is going to quickly clear to the lead. Artie's Ideal is also driving on the outside. Sobel Ace, Palladium Hanover. Now Palladium Hanover is third. Sobel Ace takes back, finds a seat fourth. Magical Arthur, mid-pack fifth, works over to the pylons. And then Nighttime Dancer, Calling Your Bluff. He's a handyman. And Madman Hill. And Artie's Ideal wants to come on and try to make the lead over Ideal Perception as they race off the turn. But Ideal Perception will quickly come back out on the retake and reclaim the front and clear before the turn. Artie's Ideal is going to get a pocket ride on the back of Ideal Perception. Then it is Palladium Hanover and Sobel Ace and Magical Arthur fifth on the inside. Nighttime Dancer is racing sixth as they work their way up towards the half off that lively 26-1 opening quarter. Calling Your Bluff is currently called seventh, and he's a handyman. And Madman Hill, but Ideal Perception at 6-1 on the board is pouring it on right now, 54-2 halftime. But Palladium Hanover starting to move up on the outside, has taken over second. Artie's Ideal to the inside is third. Sobel Ace is racing fourth. Magical Arthur stays on the inside. Calling Your Bluff is on the outside. And then it is back to Nighttime Dancer seventh and Madman Hill. And 3/4 won, 22-2. And Ideal Perception is putting on an Industry Day show as they race their way to the top of the stretch. But Sobel Ace now is coming. It is Ideal Perception getting some urging. Sobel Ace is trying to close. And Artie's Ideal on down the stretch where they come. Ideal Perception and on the outside Sobel Ace. Sobel Ace is coming to Ideal Perception. Sobel Ace gets there. Ideal Perception. Then it was Magical Arthur and Nighttime Dancer 151-1. Sobel Ace was able to track down Ideal Perception, who put up some big fractions early.
All right, Greg Blanchard back. Mark McKelvey's taking the rest of the afternoon off. He's a little upset at himself. He made the bold prediction. It was looking good, Mark, until the last quarter. The big fractions caught up to Ideal Perception. He went for broke here today and just gets picked off at the wire by Sobel Ace. Great effort again from the veteran Ideal Perception, but Sobel Ace, let's give this guy some credit for that big final quarter rally. While others were tiring, this guy found a second wind and found the wire just in time for driver Jason Ryan. So showing that those two recent wins at George and Downs were a sign of things to come today.
Yeah, no fluke, that's for sure. He's now a 3 consecutive time winner, 4 for 12 on the season. I mean, Ideal Perception, it ends up being basically the exact same race as last week, very similar fractions, and what happened? He just gave it up at the very end and got beat half a length. Here today at 3/4 for just a split second, I thought maybe he's just got a little more here, but as he got into the lane, the stride shortened and Sobel Ace is going to pick him off to get the victory. But looked like Anthony Hum, maybe he heard me talking because he was trying to get everything out of Ideal Perception to go all the way. Artie's Ideal, we talked about him probably having to be a horse that would fire out of there. He did. And at the long price ends up hanging in there for a fourth after Ideal Perception quarter poled and came around to re-grab command. Magical Arthur, I thought he was the standout in this race. And understandably, maybe that speed wasn't there to mix it up at the front. That wasn't going to be the way for him to win. He got bunched up in the far turn, has a few others tired, and just has to try and slice his way through to take a third. So, hey, Sobel Ace and Jason Ryan, they found the way to the winner's circle, and they do it in 151-1, which is just a fifth of a second off of this 4-year-old's lifetime best of 51 flat taken last year at Woodbine Mohawk Park.
And this guy, a 4-year-old son of Better Than Cheddar, who looks like he's just getting better, frankly, as time goes on. Who knows what kind of a horse we could be looking at for the second half of the season and beyond. For trainer Otis Hall, there's a trainer that, you know, isn't a household name in Ontario, but continually, every year, puts out very competitive horses that race a lot at Mohawk Park and other venues. And the Sobel Hill Farm horses, you know, they've got a great breeding operation, and horses with the Sobel moniker have all done very well. When they come to the racetrack and you see that name, you kind of now expect is going to be a nice racehorse.
You're right, and you just look at the numbers this season for Otis Hall, 14 wins from 38 starters. So, you know, they pick their spots. They have them ready when it's time to come to the track. They rack up the miles, doing a lot of trucking around Ontario to race where they have to, but they put them in the right spot, and that's what they did here with Sauble Ace. They had been trying Woodbine Mohawk Park over several weeks to, you know, varying levels of success, take some spins over to Georgian Downs, get a couple of wins, and now here today on Industry Day, make it 3 in a row.
All right, let's take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have the Battle of the Bells final to set up for you.
Winback Farm of Delaware is home to 8 exceptional stallions. New in 2024, Nutcracker Sweet, a full brother to Double Millionaire Better Sweet and half brother to the Great Sweet Lou. World Champion He's Watching, a proven sire of stakes winners, including Double Millionaire Tattoo Artist, Sports Column, an Ontario Sire Stakes star, and a 19-time winner. Top Flight Angel, who won the Orchestra Final and is a multiple New York Sire Stakes champion. Also standing, Badlands Hanover, Classic Card Shark, Glide Master, and Ronnie's Bags Again. For more information, visit winbackfarm.com.
The London Classic Yearling Sale, Canada's premier standardbred auction, returns October 15th and 16th to the Western Fair District Agriplex. Recent London sales standouts include O'Brien Award winners and millionaire performers, Logan Park, Fashion Frenzy, and Stockade Sealster. Leading North American consigners and yearlings by the sport's top sires, all under one roof in a world-class facility. Find your next champion at the London Classic Yearling Sale. Find out more by visiting londonclassic.ca.
In first, they roll on towards 3/4. Twin B Watching's got the lead. Twin B Watching, Better's Wish now charging on the outside. Twin B Watching and Better's Wish as they race away on that final turn. Bronx Sealter with the lead. Bronx Sealter and Better's Wish. Bronx Sealter leading Better's Wish is racing second 3/4, 124-1. And the field turns for home. Better's Wish trying to put away the favorite Bronx Sealter as they come on down the stretch drive. And right now, the lead is just about a nose fighting back. Bronx Sealster. Center of the track is Better's Wish. Better's Wish and Bronx Sealster. Bronx Sealster turns back. Better's Wish third was Sports Teen. And Fast in first was fourth, 153-1.
Another nice trip down memory lane with Bronx Sealster winning the Battle of Waterloo. The official results for race number 9 are now in. Sauble Ace, the winner, pays $9.70 on the nose. $95 Exacta teaming up with the veteran Ideal Perception. And the Dollar Superfecta just over $704. So had a little bit of everything. A long shot, heavy favorite, now a mid-priced horse in that late pick 5 sequence. Well, coming up, it's the first of our 2 marquee events this afternoon. The 2-year-old Filly Pacers in the Battle of the Bells this year with a purse of $175,200. Scratched is number 4, Perfectly Chic, as we give you a quick look at the field page now. So with her out, certainly going to change the complexion. It will be a field of 8 going postward in this marquee event for the Filly Pacers next. Jody Jamieson will drive number 7, Wicked Pace, who will now leave from post position number 6. Jody, a 3-time winner of the Battle of the Bells. And last weekend, following the eliminations, we caught up with Jody for his thoughts on today's contests.
It is 5th and 5, and Jody Jamieson with a front. And now Tito and Cheddar might have flattened out a little bit, and 5th and 5 is getting away. Blue Bar is surging up on the outside. Now Tito and Cheddar on the inside, so about 2 off the lead on down the stretch drive, and Wicked West and still in hunt and All-Star Maniac, but it is 5th and 5 who's pouring it on. All-Star Maniac now comes on late to pick up second. Then it is Blue Bar. And then
he's been a really good horse training down. I mean, we had 4 colts, and I honestly thought he was maybe the 4th best one of a quality group of 4, but tonight he actually, he's strutting his stuff, and he hasn't really had a chance to get out and get going. His first start, Trevor split horses with him, and he come 26-1 in the stretch and a maiden. And then his next start was in a gold, and I didn't get out till real late, and that was the one that Wizard won. I couldn't get out in time, ended up 3rd. Very happy with him. And last week Phil Houdon drove him, gave him a perfect trip. Nowhere to go, finished 4th, running over them. So 2 weeks in a row, he's getting faster and faster, and he's just looking for air. And I just let him pace, and it was, you know, he did his own thing. Louis came at me hard, but I wasn't worried. This horse just kind of, he's just willing and wants to go. And I was really surprised when the finish time flashed out. 51-4 was a big trip for a 2-year-old anywhere, let alone at the Battle of Waterloo Limbs. Now we're going to have 2 in the final, and we hopefully with a good couple of draws, we can get a big chunk of the purse. So Ontario Sire Stakes is the best of the best. Generally speaking, we could take these horses and race against the best in the world. You know, and hopefully we'll get a chance to do that down the road. But in the meantime, we're going to try to beat the best of Ontario has to offer here in Grand River Raceway. I think if you look, I think the average half for all these limbs tonight, the Bells and the Battle of Waterloo, I think was 55. I believe for every race it was 55 in a piece. So the track is obviously fast as hell. I think they've done a heck of a job getting the track to where it is today. And I'm sure it'll be ready to rock here a week tonight.
Good look at Jody and Carl last week after the eliminations, and what a run it has been. Almost right out of the gate, Carl dominating the early days of the Battle of Waterloo, and once Jody started becoming a regular driver, that combination just deadly for a number of years. It's been a while, but here they are, and they've got a big chance to add to their legacy.
They certainly do. I like Jody's chances in both races here. Wicked Pace coming up in the Bells, 5th and 5 coming up in the Battle of Waterloo. You saw a note there at the bottom of the screen when that graphic was up there, and you know Jody surpassed $150 million in career earnings this past weekend. What a remarkable career it has been. He'll be the first to tell you that his dad has been a big reason for a lot of his success. Gave him those opportunities, winning races like the Battle of Waterloo, and then Jody has just taken the ball and run with it. All the big victories he's had in his career, multiple North America Cups, you know, still driving Grand Circuit horses like Captain's Quarters, who he raced on the weekend. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame one day. It's just a matter of time. But $150 million, that's nothing to shake an eye at. You got to take a look once again and just recognize what an unbelievable career it's been for Jody Jamieson. And days like today, they mean a lot to him and his father.
And we take for granted the record they have on this day and in these events. It is incredible. And we said the only other real comparable would be Team McNair, Greg and Doug. And I can't think of another scenario. I can't think of another race in North America where you've got 2 different father-son duos who've had so much success.
Yeah, it doesn't come to mind. And I joked last week after the eliminations with Doug McNair. I said, oh, Jody might add another one here. I mean, Doug's got a good shot, of course, in the Battle of Waterloo, but after 5th and 5 went 51-4. Doug said, yeah, that horse is legit. So who knows? There's a good chance it's going to be either a Jamieson or a McNair in the winner's circle, or can somebody else maybe find a way to get into the action here at the Battle of Waterloo? But a lot of times history has a way of repeating itself.
So we'll get a look at them inside the paddock. We are just moments away now from the post parade of this year's Battle of the Bells, chasing a lucrative $175,000 purse. The complexion changed when Perfectly Chic came up scratch. That would have been a major contender for post 4. I'll ask you, how much do you think the complexion changes with her not in the race?
I think there's an opportunity now for some others that maybe think their chances have increased. That being said, I thought it's a pretty competitive group, even if Perfectly Chic was in there. I just think it maybe gives a few others who are going to be able to come in a spot. Wicked and Single, I can understand this one being the favorite. Was a beaten favorite last week in the elimination, but she really sparkled in her first 2 starts. Hasn't won in her last 2. I don't know if that's something to keep in mind, and she has been a beaten favorite a couple of times now, but she's a legit player in this race, and I think you can say that for about 3 or 4 of them in this race. So I had a tough time coming up with a top pick.
In the eliminations, we discounted, or I guess the betting public discounted, some of the outside starters or the outside posts in those eliminations, and it came at their peril because those horses were able to jump up and surprise. We're likely to see the same thing again today, where outside horses maybe get overlooked simply because of post position. But now with the scratch inside, it brings them into play a little bit more. And maybe that's why you're seeing so much tote support behind Wicked Pace and Jody Jamieson here. Good third in the eliminations. Post 7 now becomes post 6. And this one 3 for 5 on the season. So her odds 3-1. Public thinks that she will be somewhere in the mix in this really competitive group.
It is, and I look at a horse like the number 9. It had to be you who's going to start from the second tier. And I know this is the longest shot on the board, but even if you look through kind of the lines and read between the lines when it comes to this horse, 2 starts back, won a grassroots event at Kawartha Downs, and even in her elimination, I mean, she was way back. Had to make up a lot of ground in the late stages of that mile. 56-second back half after getting away in 7th, and here today is that a horse that maybe can follow the rail starter out of there and just get spotted in the right spot. I mean, I don't think she's going to win the race, but again, I just think it speaks to the potential depth in this group that there's a lot of them that could factor in.
And maybe a sentimental pick for some, and a filly that on her own merits could be a player in here. Famous Fast Words. This one, a Bob McIntosh trained daughter of sports writer, and Jeff Williams, an assistant for the McIntosh stable, took over the training going into the eliminations and is now the trainer of this one. And McIntosh had won this event back in 2022 with big plans. Famous Fast Words. A good closing second from an outside post in the eliminations. I didn't see anything wrong with that effort whatsoever. Thus 15-1 is the price on the board to me that really jumps out.
I can understand that, and especially for a horse that I think is a bit of a closer, one that can rally. She hasn't shown a lot of early speed, so maybe this is a race where they mix it up, and Travis Henry might be able to kind of pick up the pieces as it goes along. You're right. It would absolutely be fitting if Famous Fast Words could get the job done here in today's Battle of the Bells. But, over the last couple of minutes, as we're waiting for them to come onto the track, we've really noted that there are several horses in here that you can make a case for, and maybe we're just overlooking the rail star. Maybe we're not giving enough respect to Manhattan Mayhem, the elimination winner from a week ago, who's now won back-to-back starts. The Stacy stable continually turning out top horses. And what a spot for Doug McNair to pick up a drive here. It's interesting because he actually jumps off of Saddlebags, who he drove in the elim, to drive Manhattan Mayhem, who he did not drive in the elimination. You don't see that a whole lot, but Bob McClure, of course, had to make a choice, went with Perfectly Chic. Unfortunately for Bob, she gets scratched, but Doug McNair maybe was just in the right spot. Sometimes these things have a way of working out, and he is going to give Manhattan Mayhem every chance in the world to win here today. I think we'll see a bit more of an aggressive approach from this filly, who, for the most part, has shown she likes to sit off.
So, will Doug McNair be Johnny on the spot today with Manhattan Mayhem for Post 1 as she looks to make it a third consecutive win? She was a grassroots winner at Kawartha Downs July 19th, that impressive elimination winner from a week ago. Team Stacy have this Daughter of Better's Delight heading in the right direction from Post 1 today.
There's a look at the 2. One for My Baby. Trevor Henry drives from Millar Farms, and Nick Gallucci. First foal out of a Better's Delight mare, who was a half-sister to the speedy Panther Hanover.
Richest yearling purchase in the field, Millie Mae Hanover. She was a $300,000 buy at the Harrisburg sale. Andrew Harris trains for Bill Pollock, Bruce Araman, and Andrew shares ownership. Louis Philippe Bois will drive.
Number 5, Wicked and Single. This McWicked filly started her career with back-to-back wins. Since then, she's hit the top 3, so 2 for 4. James McDonald for trainer Tony Beat.
Famous Fast Words, who we talked about earlier. She's a one-time winner this year. 3 on-the-board finishes. Great runner-up effort in the elims. And looking to give Travis Henry a victory in Grand River's marquee event.
Jody Jamieson would love to team up with his good buddy Paul Cameron to win the Battle of the Bells. They send out the 7, Wicked Pace, McWicked filly, who is 3 for 5 with a mark of 152 and 3.
Tyler Borth picks up the drive on Saddlebag. She was a London Classic yearling sale purchase. Control the moment filly. A one-time winner this season. It did come in grassroots action. She was a locked-in 5th in her elim.
And there's a look at the final horse in this field. Number 9, It Had to Be You. Second-tier starter, Better's Delight filly, homebred from Millar Farms. Nick Gallucci trains. Jason Ryan, who we just saw win the Buttonup Preferred, will be in the bike. Rallied from 7th to finish 4th, beat just 2.5 to qualify for today's Rich Final.
$175,200 is up for grabs here in the Battle of the Bells as we get a look at the final score outs just before the start of this event. The first edition of this contest was contested back in 2009. It was a young Scott Zeron teaming up with Mario Macri and FB Terror that year to win in that particular division. Mark McDonald came back in year 2 with Village Janus from the Rod Terez stable. So, it's still a relatively young race in terms of how long it's been around, but certainly some patterns and some history there. We talked about Jody Jamieson, the success he's had. Doug McNair has been able to win this division a couple of times, but in recent years it's been the Trevor Henry show. He's won each of the last two. He's got post 2 here for one of the top barns in Canada, and you're getting 9-1.
That's the 2-1 for my baby, who was a 4th place finisher in her elimination. You mentioned about Galucci, Millar Farms, and over the last few years, they've had a ton of success and had a good chunk of it with the fillies, whether that be Silver Label, Prohibition Legal, Save the Last Dance. They're sending out 2 here is Millar Farms, but number 2-1 for my baby, getting the driving services of Trevor Henry, who's been one of the best in Ontario for a very long time, and you said it has the hot hand in this event. Not bad, as that's the one that Trevor Henry picks up, another horse that Doug McNair had qualified for the final.
Let's go to our social feeds just before we get ready for the start of the Battle of the Bells and ask folks tuning in who they like and why in this year's edition. I'll ask you, Mark, as we await some of the responses there. Who do you like in this spot? Do you think Wicked and Single, the current favorite, bounces back into the win column?
I'm going with the 7, Wicked Pace, and we heard from Jody Jamieson a little while back. For me, this filly, she hasn't done anything wrong in her career to this point. 3 wins, a 2nd and a 3rd, and that 3rd in the elimination, she got beat just 3 parts of a length. 2-hole trip, things kind of have to work out well. You still have passing lanes here. You can maybe squeeze out, but that said, I thought she looked pretty good coming to the line, home in 28 seconds flat. She's got some early speed if it needs to be used. I think Jody's going to land her in the right spot, and I think today could be their day to come through in the Battle of the Bells. So I'll take the 7, Wicked Pace.
I want to quickly say hello to some other viewers tuning in today. Sandra Skilton's tuning in from Owen Sound. Nice part of the world.
Good spot.
Good spot. Mike Giamichelli tuning in as well from Carlisle, Ontario, not too far away from here. And, plenty of folks tuning in here this afternoon. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage so far. And we've got our 2 big main events coming up here. And the fillies will kick things off here in the first of our 2 marquee matchups. $175,000 Battle of the Bells. Doug McNair, Manhattan Mayhem. That's the kind of body language you like to see from a young filly, nice and relaxed. And she'll just simply wait the cue to go here. And that's what you want to see, right? She's not taking any of the race out of herself prior to the wings folding.
No, and a lot of these fillies have had that good look to them here, and it's amazing how quickly they get that experience under their belt today. A few more fans than maybe they've been racing in front of in other nights, and a good crowd on the rail. You can see Jody Jamieson, no problem letting his filly just kind of walk by in front of the grandstand. The 1-minute call's been given by the starters, so the fillies are going to line up. That's my pick, and I like that 4-1 price. What do you think here, Greg? Do you have one that you're going to put your backing behind?
I'm going to give Trevor Henry a little bit of a look in here, post 2 for the Galucci stable. She was put on the lead early last time from the outside post, and caught up in some early speed, took a bit of a shuffle, and I thought had some pace at the end. She had won impressively before that at Kawartha Downs over the 5/8 mile oval. So I think dangerous to leave a Millar Farms Galucci trained filly out of the mix here. Daughter, he's watching plenty of talent here, and we'll leave it up to Trevor Henry to work out some kind of an upset winning trip here. He's been able to win the last 2 editions of the event, so we'll see what is in store this year. 8 of the best 2-year-old fillies in the province lining up as the sun now out in full force. It's the Battle of the Bells 2024 edition. Once again, Gary Guy with the description.
Field of 8 for the Battle of the Bells, the 10th race, Manhattan Mayhem at 1 for my baby on the inside with Millie May Hanover in the center. Wicked and Single and Famous Fast Words, and to the outside, Wicked Pace and Saddlebags, and the second tier, It Had to Be You. It's a field of 8, the 10th race, the Battle of the Bells. Field for the 10th race is in the backstretch approaching the start. Fillies are at the start of the rough, and Famous Fast Words is fasterly. Wicked Pace. One for My Baby on the inside. Those the first three as they drive on into the turn. Then Wicked and Single. Now racing on the outside fourth. Manhattan Mayhem is fifth on the inside. Millie May Hanover still travels to the outside sixth. It Had to Be You. And then Saddlebags Wicked Pace leads to the opening quarter at 4-1. But now driving is Wicked and Single. And Wicked and Single, even money favorite, is going to drive up 26-2. It was a solid opening panel. Wicked and Single clears the lead. The Wicked Pace is racing second. Famous Fast Words is third. One for My Baby. Now Manhattan Mayhem is going to start the trek on the outside. Millie May Hanover off that 26-2 opening quarter. The field heads up towards the half, and Saddlebags on the inside, second from last, and now taking over second last on the outside as they race their way on down the backstretch. It Had to Be You, and then Saddlebags. But halftime, 56 seconds for Wicked and Single and James McDonald. Manhattan Mayhem on the outside, chipping away and moving alongside Wicked Pace as that pair is both a length and a half back as they head to three quarters. Millie May Hanover is well situated second over, sharing fourth with Famous Fast Words on the inside. It Had to Be You is sharing sixth with One for My Baby. And then it is Saddlebags trailing. Three quarters, 124-3. Wicked and Single still with a front. Wicked and Single. Manhattan Mayhem is looming on the outside, but Wicked and Single still looks sharp. Manhattan Mayhem. Wicked Pace looking now on the inside to find the passing lane as they turn from on down the stretch. Where they come. And Manhattan Mayhem up the inside. Wicked Pace. And in the center of the track, Wicked and Single. Wicked and Single in a photo finish with Manhattan Mayhem. Wicked Pace on the inside, and One for My Baby. 153-2. Wicked and Single.
It looked like Wicked and Single able to hold on, a determined effort. They were closing from both sides, and it looked like she might get picked off, but I think the wire comes up just in time. We'll get another look at it there in slow motion, and yes, Wicked and Single in the center does appear to hold on over a very game Manhattan Mayhem down on the inside. Wicked Pace, I think that's a big filly that maybe just needed a little more racetrack mark to get into high gear, and a nice close from One for My Baby. Another one that came from a long way, just simply ran out of real estate.
Yeah, one of those races, I know we kind of touched on most of the horses before, but the ones we really focused on were all right there. And a tight finish like that, it just shows you this was a wide open affair, and Wicked and Single ends up taking them all the way. Going around that last turn, you could see the 7 Wicked Pace in the 2-hole just almost climbing over the back of Wicked and Single. I didn't know if that indicated if Wicked and Single was maybe tiring a bit. The first up rival was getting a little bit closer, and I think the passing lane just doesn't come up early enough for Wicked Pace. And then, like you said, once they get diving down to the rail, just not able to get into full gear. That's a great race, though. What a finish that was by these 2-year-old fillies. And Wicked and Single did have enough. She gets the job done. It wasn't the fastest of final quarters, 28-4 home, but it's enough to close it out and take the victory in the Battle of the Bells.
And you're right, diving into the passing lane here, I've watched enough races now. It's difficult. Very few horses go down there and actually go by to win. It's nice to have that option for horses in the race that are looking for room late, but it certainly hasn't been a big advantage, if you will. And Wicked Pace, yeah, you know what, maybe a longer stretch, or had she been able to come to the outside rather than have to go in there, who knows? Wicked and Single, though, what a season it has been for this daughter of McWicked. This one a homebred of Anthony Beaton and David Mercer of Nova Scotia. Lisa Lafort also shares ownership on this one with David Mercer, and Anthony obviously does the training. James McDonald picking up his third win in the Battle of the Bells. He clicked back in 2014 with Win the Gold. 2 years later did it with Bid Rider, and now makes it a third win in this event, this time with Wicked and Single. And the victory is going to put her over the $150,000 mark in seasonal earnings. We were commenting the nice close-up shot of them coming in front of the grandstand and her clearing to the front. As nice a gated filly as you're going to see.
Yeah, she just gets over the track so beautifully there. Good-looking strides. And right from day one when we watched this filly baby race, I mean, she kicked home in 26-1. She won the Tompkin and Gear Stakes, so got a Grand Circuit win. before the month of June was even done in her 2-year-old season. Then looked strong in a gold event. Since then, a couple of losses, and I don't know if maybe some people get a little deterred or maybe don't think that she's the filly they thought she might be. I don't think that was the case for these connections. I think they've been pretty happy with her right from day one. Talk about being a homebred for Tony Beaton, and that's a little extra wrinkle to this one, makes it extra sweet. And for James McDonald, they've been enjoying some big victories, whether that was the Meadowlands Pace or the Cane Pace the other day. This team, McDonald and Beaton, but now 3 wins in this event. Those 2 wins you mentioned, though, they were several years ago. They were before James had risen to the top of the driving ranks here in Ontario and now become, a bona fide, Grand Circuit driver who is winning big races. So, it's kind of full circle moment for him to come back and win a race like this.
You're right. They were, at the time, they were the kind of races that maybe were propelling him to the point where you said, he's one of the top drivers in Ontario. And then he kind of was in the mix. He was a solid top 10 guy on the Woodbine Mohawk Park circuit. He was picking up some profile wins like this, higher profile races. But then it's obviously the last 3 or 4 years where he's hit a whole other level, and one of the premier drivers certainly in all of harness racing, and a dream season for all the connections, as you said, Wicked and Single continuing that. And this is what, in talking to the connections, what they say about the filly. She's just perfect in every way. She's been a natural from day one. Just does nothing wrong. You can see her there in the winner's circle. You couldn't get any more composed for a young horse. Reminiscent of Carl, who we saw win the Hambletonian the other day and stand in the winner's circle for about a half an hour in a torrential downpour with hundreds of people around him and all kinds of commotion, and just took it all in like a pro.
And that's the case here with this filly, just like that. Look at her. She's just standing there. And it's a different experience, too, for them because here at Grand River, normally the winner's circle is over towards the apron, but today to walk them down towards the infield, a lot of crowd, a lot of cheering. And this filly, she's just taking it all in stride as she gets a great victory here today in 153 and 2. And, there's a couple of guys that have been doing a lot of smiling as of late.
There's Jenna McDonnell to make the presentation to James McDonald and Anthony Beaton and the rest of the connections. Great that they're all there to enjoy this. Robert Reed congratulating them. We're going to have some winning words from him in just a moment while we await the prices, and we'll wait for Robert to get them assembled. And it'll be interesting to hear what the connections think of the filly to this point and what will be ahead for her. Quite a feather in her cap, and building a very impressive resume early on.
Yeah, and I'd just be curious to hear what James has to say about what he was thinking going around that far turn, because they were bunching up and he had one breathing right down his neck, but his filly dug in to secure the victory.
All right, let's go over to Robert now for some winning words. The interview, and we're just getting word there is an inquiry here, and it does involve number 5, Wicked and Single, the winner. So we're going to hold the phone here a little bit and just make sure until that has been sorted out. We're unaware at this time what they were looking at.
It's pylons are looking at the far turn.
So they'll want to take a few looks just to make sure they get it right before we go official here. And some drama as we get ready to go with the winning connections of this year's Battle of the Bells. We're going to get a look at it here on Mark's phone, see if we can see what they're looking at. They are reviewing it there. Now we'll bring it up on screen for you. And things got a little tight there on the final turn. You can see they were a bit bottled up. Watch for James's inside wheel in particular. Kind of hard to tell from this vantage point, Mark. I don't see anything there jumping out. You can see him go over one there for sure. And we should reiterate here in Ontario, hitting a pylon doesn't construe as going inside a pylon. So going over a pylon is determined as hitting one is not going inside. Now
it's hard to tell. I mean,
it's hard to tell,
especially on
the
a
next two.
day card. The white pylons, it's just hard to tell with the way the color of the track is and everything. And this is the live feed that the judges are looking at.
Yeah, he goes over one for sure. One for sure, and then they're going to have to determine, did he go inside 2 consecutive? Then if it's 2 consecutive and he's lapped on, there could be a placing here. So this result is very much unofficial at this point in time. As well, we'll get another look at it, see if we can see anything else. Can you see anything definitive, Mark? There's the one he runs over.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just hard to tell. I just have a tough time with those white pylons and the color of the track to really be able to definitively tell with the wheels. They would have maybe a couple other angles to potentially look at.
Getting another look at it there, and it's pretty quick. It looks like he went inside 1 for sure. The second one is kind of up in the air. One that he ran over definitively. So it's going to be a tight call here for sure, and they'll want to really take their time upstairs and make sure they get the right call. A lot on the line here, potentially. So we'll await that. We'll come back on camera for a second. Again, the connections are waiting anxiously, as you would expect, to get this sorted out. This would be a nervous time.
Yeah, would it ever? And imagine if you're the connections of the horse that was second. Probably already got that one back in the paddock. They might already be bathing that one, and who knows what's going to happen here. I just have a tough time because it has to be conclusive. And, maybe I need to throw some glasses on to be sure, but it's just so hard to tell.
And that's the thing, and a lot of people, there is confusion with this rule. If a horse hits and it even just moves a little bit, that's determined as to be hitting a pylon and not actually inside it. So this is probably the best vantage point we're going to get. So there's one getting hit for sure. There's another one that is hit. And now we're getting, again, looks like they brushed that one and touched it. And so, again, we're hearing Gary Guy in the background. We can't exactly hear what is being determined or what the explanation is, but we will know very quickly. So that's a tough one, Mark.
I think they might be looking at 2 spots because I think what we saw earlier, but that one as well, if you look at the number 7, Wicked Pace, I think Jody Jamieson maybe cuts the passing lane pylon as well. And we talked about that one trying to wait for as long as he could before he took it down to the inside. And it looked on that angle like that one might have been inside those red pylons.
And if they go inside just one, then it's up to judges' discretion as to whether they gained a clear advantage. If you clearly go inside 2 and are lapped on, that's reason for disqualification. Inside 3 consecutive, and it's an automatic disqualification. And again, where it gets tricky, Mark, as we said before, if even just brushing a pylon, even if the wheel is more toward the inside, if it just brushes and moves it, that's determined as hitting or running over the pylon. That's it. They have to feel that the wheel is all the way inside and doesn't touch the pylon. So there's still a bit of discretion there.
And I guess at this point now, I mean, it's for the viewers as well. Your guess is as good as ours because it's just really hard to tell at this moment. And it's tough with the colors and everything and the camera angles. They're moving around. So just waiting for the call, and it's in the judge's hand.
Now there's an inquiry on the one we're hearing as well. So there's a lot happening.
Jeez.
So why don't let's take a commercial break, and then we'll come back, and we'll try and get some details in the meantime, and things might be sorted out by then. So we'll be right back with more. A dramatic end to this year's Battle of the Bells.
By now, you know the name Cosa-Tv, an industry leader producing unique, high-quality digital content promoting harness racing in Ontario. Features, virtual programming, live events, and more. Cosa-Tv has it covered. Follow our social media channels and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page to view the latest content. And if you're looking to bet your favorite Ontario track, check out hpibet.com. Cosa-Tv, taking Ontario racing global.
For over 25 years, Tara Hill Stud has worked with partners to help produce champion stallions. We are proud to have bred great racehorses like Fade Out, Shower Play, Precious Delight, and There's a Demon in Me. Our stallions, past and present, have had tremendous success while making a huge impact on racing across North America. Mr. Levesque, Mach 3, Cadabra, Muscle Mass, and Precious Bunny, to name a few. Our stallions' progeny have won major events, including the Hambletonian. Tara Hill Stud are currently standing 9 of the industry's top stallions. Alarm Detector, Control the Moment, Danson Lou, Flanagan Memory, Green Manalishi, He's Watching, Muscle Mass, Resolve, and Sports Writing. Our facility is modern, our staff knowledgeable. Consider Tara Hill Stud when choosing a home for your stallion. Tara Hill Stud, where champions stand and champion yearlings are raised. Log on to tarahills.com.
And welcome back. The suspense continues. Driver James McDonald, Anthony Beaton, the trainer, anxiously awaiting, nervously awaiting the verdict of this inquiry. And we know now they're looking at 3 different instances here. Manhattan Mayhem, along with 7 wicket pace and a 5 wicket and single for 3 separate things. Kind of all subtle things, but very important to the final outcome. So, and the longer it takes, the more it makes you wonder if there's going to be some movement somewhere along the line.
Yeah, and if there's multiple inquiries, I think we're getting the call right now. Multiple inquiries could be multiple placings. Who knows?
We're hearing Gary Guy with an announcement. It's looking like the winner is going to stand.
No violation, they said, of the 5.
No violation. So there's a big sigh of relief, a big exhale, certainly for the Connections. And I can't imagine, we don't race in events like this from an ownership perspective, so I can't imagine it's going to be fun to hear some comments from the winning Connections. Robert Reed there, we'll just wait until he's ready to go. And it looks like he's very close, and we'll send it to him now for some winning words.
And now things are fine. Robert
Reed Jr. here in the Winback Farms Winner's Circle with James McDonald, winning driver of Wicked and Single. And James, listen, some tense moments here in the Winner's Circle. I mean, that was a lengthy inquiry. How were you feeling through that?
I was sweating pretty bad. You know, everyone in the Winner's Circle here celebrating and cheering, and then have something like that happen. It puts a damper on the situation for sure, but glad it stood and they made the right call. So happy for the owners and the trainer and the horse herself. She earned it.
And, you know, Wicked and Single there, I mean, you were out a long way before you get to the lead. You know, and the old surface, that might be a bigger problem. But here, you can kind of stay out there longer. Yeah, it plays more like a 5/8 mile track. You know, I just kind of took my time off the gate to see what was going to happen. And ideally, I would have liked to race her off the pace because Tony and I had talked about tripping her out and she'd get beat twice on the front. So, but you just, when you're racing for big money, you got to see what the race gives you, and that's what the race was giving us today. So we kept trucking to the lead, and just really proud of Tony and her and the whole Connections, the owners, the grooms, everyone. They work hard on her, and they've done a great job. Third Battle of the Bells victory for you, now tied for the lead for winningest driver in that race. And, of course, the relationship you have with Tony Beaton, incredible success this season. Let's just quick thoughts of the Battle of Waterloo, All-Star Maniac, some changes being made on that one today. I thought made a bobble off the gate last time. From your perspective, how did he race in the elimination? How do you think he might be today? He was terrific in the elimination. I thought I had Jody the whole way, and I just took my time, first of all, trying to get him in the final, and I moved him late, and I thought he would run him down, but Jody's colt was terrific. So I'll have him hopefully in a good spot today, and if it works out, I think he's the horse to beat, but a lot can change pretty quick, as we just saw. All right, congratulations, James. I'll let you get to work now in the Battle of Waterloo. We'll go to Tony Beaton now, winning trainer of Wicked and Single. And Tony, tense moments in the winter, so kind of, to me, feels like a microcosm of your year, right? I mean, people talk about the highs and lows of harness racing. Certainly, you've had to go through that. How does it feel now to come out on the other side, and even be here now locally winning a race like this?
It's great. that stuff's all behind me now. We're just got that in our taillights, and we're just hoping to have a lot of success and continued success as we go forward.
And you've got an incredible stable of racehorses. I mean, I'm just wondering, and maybe telling people at home, how do you kind of keep up with these horses, these stakes events, these big races, and keep on posting incredible numbers? I mean horses like Legendary Hanover, you just had an incredible run as of late. You must have a great team behind you.
Yeah, I got a great staff and support group everywhere, and the drivers are phenomenal that we got. And it's not easy, but we got a big, thick binder there with a lot of scheduling in it, and we take a look at it every week there and try to map out our week, and we just try to go forward from there.
And Wicked and Single, I mean, this is a horse. I mean, she's already proven herself at the gold level. You got to be feeling that there's good things ahead for her in the future.
I certainly hope so, because it's our first homebred baby, and I got to thank Winback Farms for raising her. Like, they did a tremendous job, and hopefully they do the same job with the full sister that we're getting there this fall. So.
And it all comes full circle, right? I mean, Winback Farms, that they're the sponsor today here, and I mean, it's got to be all that more special, like you said, when it's a homebred.
Yeah, for sure. It's pretty special.
All right, thanks, Tony. Congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
Tony Beaton, winning trainer of Wicked and Single in the Battle of the Bells.
Some real raw emotion there from Anthony Beaton, and great job. Thanks to Rob Reed for that, and James McDonald. First and foremost, big sigh of relief for all the connections. Wicked and Single, it's tough. Rules are rules, and hey, if they run afoul and they're placed, that's just the way it is. Rules are there to be implemented for sure, but you would have hated to have seen the filly, after the effort you put forward, be taken down, and a hard-fought, really well-earned victory here. 4:30 the win. The public had it right. Wicked Pace does end up finishing second there when all is said and done. Manhattan Mayhem to settle for third, and One for My Baby rounding out the top four. All four racing quite well here, and it is Wicked and Single, the Winback bred, getting it done in the Battle of the Bells, the Winback sponsored Battle of Waterloo, the main event, coming up next.
On the back of Ron, and also coming now, so head over to the outside of the inside sports box, and then that is back to Twin B Raptor. It is Better Have My Money, and James McDonald with the lead. Aaron Wood Eves is right there now, and is going to come to the outside. And also on the outside, Century Inspector, 3/4, 124. And it is Better Have My Money. Aaron Wood Eves took back down to the inside. And then Century Inspector. Stu's watching, is racing fourth, and now saw Hanover dueling with Stone Carver for fifth. And then on his sports box on down the stretch route they come in the Battle of Waterloo final. Better Have My Money. Aaron Wood Eves is chasing. Better Have My Money, and Aaron Wood Eves. Better Have My Money was able to hold off Aaron Wood Eves, and then it was Century Inspector. Stu's watching, and Stone Carver won 52-4.
Well, there was another nice trip down memory lane. We've been able to do that all afternoon long. It is the 2024 edition of the Battle of Waterloo. Straight ahead, $245,400 on the line. For those playing today, a super high five offered up here with a $7,500 guaranteed pool. An outstanding field of 9, the first time ever the event to be contested on a 5/8 mile oval. It's going to be a really good betting board, as you can see as well. An exciting one straight ahead here. So much history in the event. Gentleman who's won it previously is Blake McIntosh. His hopes this time are pinned squarely on a good-looking gray colt named Sterling Choice. Really impressive effort from post 8 in his elimination. Gets post 1 to work with today. Earlier today, I caught up with Blake for his thoughts. Another familiar face in the Battle of Waterloo this year, trainer Blake McIntosh. It's been a few years, Blake, since you won it, 2016. That was a special one for you. You return here today with Sterling Choice, post 1. Just tell us quickly what we need to know about this good-looking gray coming in today.
He's a really nice horse. He got shuffled last week back to 5th and came on hard. I really like the colt. Edmund McKay trained him down for us and did a great job with him, and I really think this horse has a real shot in there.
Reunited today with Tyler Borth. He's driven him once before. Maybe just a bit about that decision.
Well, James had Gallucci's horse, so I knew that we needed a driver. Tyler knew the horse. You know, last time we drove him, we had the 10-hole outside, and I told him just take him off and let him pace for home. And he did that, so I thought we'd better give Tyler another shot on him, and he was gladly took the drive.
And as one of the prominent trainers in the province, especially of young stakes horses, how important is this race for you on the calendar?
This race is always important to me. You know, it's my first big stake win. You know, it sort of got me started with sports column. And, you know, I always look forward to this day. You know, I've been shut out at the bells. I've had a lot of favorites get beat, and I've had a lot of favorites get beat in this race too. So we're hoping today's the day.
Good luck.
Thanks a lot, Greg.
All right, there's Blake McIntosh sending out Sterling Choice. Buddy of ours, Ozzie McKay, part of the ownership group of this one. Tammy, his sister, also, and she's in town today. A lot of excitement around that horse, certainly. Post 1, looking to give Blake a second win in the event. He's a long way, though, from catching Carl Jamieson in that department. He's a 6-time winner. He's got 2 great shots today. I also was able to catch up with him earlier this afternoon. Carl Jamieson, certainly no stranger to the Battle of Waterloo, the winningest trainer in the history of the event. Let's touch on that first of all, Carl. How special is a statistic like that to you?
It's pretty special. It started out when they first started the Battle of Waterloo, and we win it every second year for 6 years or so. And so it's nice. It's nice.
Been a while between victories for you, but boy, you're back with some power this year. You've got 2 shots in this group, including Out of Ice. Let's talk about him first of all. A tough post draw, but one that you've been kind of quietly high on all season.
Yes, I really like him. I think he's got more speed than the other colt has. He just we drawed bad. I've had little problems with steering him, and he raced pretty well last week. I think a little more stretch, he would have got the job done last week, but he had an inside post. And no, he's a very nice horse. Look good. I look for to do good.
Yep. And 5th and 5 last week really turned heads. Track record performance, in fact, 51 and 4. You know, is he just sort of scratching the surface as well in terms of what he could be?
Yeah, well, like both these horses raced, they never really got a chance to really show their potential. In Mohawk, they were caught in. Both of them were caught in both times they raced in Mohawk, and with lots of horse left, live horses. So we knew we had more horse there. I mean, I didn't know we were going to go on 51 over here, but he did it very strong, very easy, and looked great doing it. So.
And finally, you know, how much have you thought about, or how exciting is it for you to be competing this year in the battle, first time on the new 5/8 mile track?
Oh, it's great. I mean, I started off in over in Elmira in a half-mile track, and kind of a bull ring, I think you would say. And we raced from over to here, and then now we're on a big track. I really thought we'd have more entries on this track here, a bigger track, and more horses. You know, I thought it'd be better horses around. And anyway, we didn't, but we're here, and hope for the best.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Greg. Happy to have you back on the desk. Carl Jamieson seems very confident with his opportunity in the Battle of Waterloo. But good to catch up with the connections heading into this race. And similarly to what we just saw from the fillies, I think there is a lot of talent in this group. And maybe we're going to focus in on those that sparkled last week, but not to be overlooked are some of these others, including, you know, Blake. We heard from him. He's got a good post to work with in Sterling Choice. The 6 All-Star Maniac at 9-2 is a big-time player. It's a good group.
It really is, and look at the betting board. The money's pretty well spread out. Stonebridge Wizard, favorite, I think deservedly so. I think his resume coming in this year, you know, would support him being the favorite. Much lower than 3-2, though, and you're going to quickly be talking about potential overbet in this field. 5th and 5 really jumped up last week, but All-Star Maniac, James sounded ultra confident in him today. And when you hear Carl Jamieson talk about his other horse, Out of Ice, saying that, you know, he thinks he's even faster than 5th and 5, that's quite a statement. But post 8, it's going to be a more of a challenge for him.
It will be, and you know, it was 4-1 on the morning line here on the 8 Out of Ice. Now way up there on the betting board right now, but a horse that, you know, just 3 starts under his belt, hasn't got to the winner's circle, but his best effort was his most recent, and that's what you look for, is if they start trending a certain direction. Maybe he does take it up another level here today, and Trevor Henry, he can certainly figure out a way to make something happen, and maybe even make even more speed from this horse, who Carl said's got plenty of it.
And let's talk about Sterling Choice. We heard from Blake. He was 16-1 last week in the limbs. He had post 8. He overcame that. He got involved early. He was 4th, and he wasn't a tiring 4th. He was looking for some daylight late. For those who didn't see the race, he had some pace on the end and was kind of caught in. He's a big horse and one that takes a little bit of real estate to get rolling. So I thought it was a really good race, and to see him still 13-1 after that, he could be one of the price plays on the board. I think Tyler Borth picks up a pretty live drive.
I do too. 26-3 went his first quarter, and he comes home 28, and like you said, is maybe looking for daylight and maybe has even more to offer there. So the fact that he could start him up and still had plenty to come home with, I think that is very intriguing going into this race. And like you said, Tyler Borth, you know, a lot of times I think for drivers when they pick up one in a big race like this that they didn't drive in the elimination, you know, you're going to try and make the most of that opportunity. But what I like is that Tyler Borth has driven him before, so he's got familiarity.
There's a good look at him. Look at that. That's a great shot. You got to remember too, right? These guys they're still kids. They're kind of like, you know, teenagers, if you will. You know, this guy, they're just trying to keep him calm, keep him nice and relaxed there in the paddock. Good-looking gray. He's got the distinctive red of the McIntosh stable. There's the green and black of Team Jamieson, 5th and 5. A winner last week in the limb. Not only a winner, a track record performance in winning.
I mean, that mile again, I think it just made everybody's eyes pop. So you wonder, what's the follow-up? What does he have to offer this time around? It's probably going to be an aggressive approach here from Jody Jamieson. I think after the way the last race went, there's probably no doubt the spot he's going to be looking to avoid is to be in that 2-hole. I don't think he's going to be wanting to have to rely on that. And with the way he raced in that elimination, it's going to be, you know, definitely going to show some aggressiveness and try and really power drive him here. You have to think Doug McNair maybe just tries the exact same with Stonebridge Wizard. So who gets to call the shots in here? That's a tough question.
All right, there is Stonebridge Wizard. We'll see if he's got some more magic up his sleeves today. This one is a son of the first crop of Danson Lou, and $32,000 purchase last fall in the London sale. Jared Bako doing the training, 3-time winner this year. He's got $93,000 earned, so could really pad the bankroll today, and he's proven to be a pretty good investment. A $70,000 yearling purchase was All-Star Maniac by the Miller Farms. They typically deal in homebreds, so it was interesting to see them shell out $70,000 for this guy. Good-looking son of All Bets Off, and he's been a player in the division.
He has. I mean, he has got good late speed. He's shown that right from his first baby race, and then has taken that when he's had to race under the lights with now 3 starts, 1 win, and a second. That win came in a maiden contest 2 starts back, but to break that maiden and to do it with good final half speed the way that he showed, and then to show up here in the elimination and to pace 3 consecutive sub-28 quarters, he is a major threat in my opinion.
Here we go. It's the walkout to the track for the starters in this year's Battle of Waterloo. There's Jet Jamieson, Dad Jody, and grandfather Carl training. 5th and 5, one of 2 starters for Team Jamieson as Carl looks for his 7th Battle of Waterloo title. Sylvain Filion will guide 3 set shot for Dr. Ian Moore. Ian, a past winner of this event as well. This guy, a $280,000 yearling purchase. Let's meet the field, Mark, starting with 1 Sterling Choice.
Yeah, we kick things off with Sterling Choice, the striking gray. Tyler Borth drives for trainer Blake McIntosh. Finished 4th in his elimination from the outside starting spot of post 8. Still looking for that first win, 2 for 4 on the money.
9 to 5, second choice currently. Track record holder, 5th and 5, a son of Better's Delight. 1 win this season. That came last week in the eliminations. Jody Jamieson in search of his 5th battle title.
The 3 set shot is as well bred as a horse as you're going to find in this year's Battle of Waterloo. An expensive yearling like you just mentioned. Doc Moore trains for Mac and Carol Nickel. The driver's Sylvain Filion.
The Better Than Cheddar colt Tito and Cheddar, number 4, trained by Murray Brathor. We'll have Louis Philippe Bois in the driver's seat. A 1-time winner, a mark of 54-1 earlier this year at Mohawk Park.
Number 5, Stonebridge Wizard. We'll get to that one in a second, but I guess we'll go to the 6 right now. All-Star Maniac has a big chance here today. He's 1 for 3. This son of All Bets Off. A $70,000 London Classic by Galucci trains. James McDonald drives.
There is Stonebridge Wizard. He was the other elimination winner. It was a track record time until it was lowered in the second elimination, 52-4. He is 3 for 4 coming in for his connections.
Travis Cullen is the owner, breeder, and driver of number 7 Blue Bar, son of All Bets Off, trained by Jody Cullen, 2 for 5 to this point in his career.
The other Carl Jameson trainee is out of ice. He's a son of He's Watching with Trevor Henry in tow.
And finally, from the second tier, number 9 is Boyd Bay. Here's a son of Jimmy Freight. He is winless in 3 starts, but has hit the board in 2 of those tries. 5th in his elimination, starting from the second tier last week, so he has to do that once again. Jason Ryan drives for trainer Marie Dupont and owner AQE CSL.
Just over $245,000 on the line here in this year's Battle of Waterloo. They'll score down for the final time, just a couple of minutes away now from post time here. $7,500 guaranteed pool for those playing along today in the Super High Five. So it is a field of 9, 8 on the gate, 1 from the trailing tier. Trailing out will be Boyd Bay. Jason Ryan picking up the drive here for Marie DuPont, and this was the one that drew in of the 5th place finishers last week from the identical post 9. So got some money last week in the elims, a long shot here, but it's the type of race where, you know, some things can get a little wild and woolly up front, and a horse like him might get another nice paycheck.
And it's a little different this week. Last week from the second tier, I mean, you can follow a few of those inside horses, and sometimes they can kind of drag you right up into the, you know, mid-pack, maybe even forwardly placed. Got away 7th and then ended up shuffled back to 8th and raced from the back to get into the final, closed home in 27-3. I just look who's in front of them. Sterling Choice, 5th and 5. Those horses have to get out of there and get good position. So maybe that second tier starter can kind of toe up in and get into the mix.
And as we look at the betting board, the odds have shifted slightly. It's now number 2, 5th and 5 at 3-2, slightly favored over Stonebridge Wizard, All-Star Maniac, solid third choice at 7-2. And then the prices go up from there. So, you know, they've done enough at this point that they warrant a lot of attention. The public really honed in on those 3 in this spot. When we look at the history of the Battle of Waterloo, this will be the 27th edition. It started in 1998 at Elmira Raceway. A few years later, switched here to Elora and Grand River Raceway on the half-mile track. And this is the first ever edition on the 5/8 mile oval. And I think a lot of people speculate, Mark, that, you know, in other years, post 7 or 8, unless you were a super horse, it was a tough hill to climb. And many speculate that you have a lot better opportunity this year from those post 6, 7, 8 to get in the race and have a big opportunity to win.
And that's exactly it. It's spot on. If you watch races here all season long, you see how far they have to go from the start before they hit that first turn, and it's a big first turn as well. You can kind of get a little momentum, or at least let it carry a bit if you are parked, and I think that's why you have to factor the outside horses at least into your thoughts of where they might end up. 7 Blue Bar is a horse that has some good early speed. The 8 Out of Ice, we've heard from the trainer, thinks he's got a lot of speed, so I'll be excited to see how this one plays out going forward.
Getting a look at them on the backstretch there, and this is where you're really looking just for body language, I think, at this point in time. You know who you like on paper now. You just want to see how they look on the track. Some get a little washed out on days like this. Others get a little bit hot and erratic looking. I haven't seen that. I didn't see that in the Battle of the Bells. I haven't seen it here either.
Nope. These fillies and now the Colts here in the Battle of Waterloo, they just show that they've got so much poise already, even at this point in their careers. 7-5 favorite, the 2, 5th and 5. He's still got the favoritism right now. Then 2-1 on the 5 Stonebridge Wizard, 7-2, now 3-1 on the 6 All-Star Maniac. So they've got it at this point that these are the 3 they expect.
Jenna McDonnell has popped by, the new general manager, first year, first industry day as the GM here. Just before post time, Jenna, I want to quickly congratulate you. Looks like it's been a great day so far. How are things going over there?
So far, it's been going great. We've had a great crowd out. The weather has held up beautifully. Lots of families here. Everybody is really excited. I can hear them cheering along the fence line right now, and it's just been a great day overall.
And I know for your family, this is a race near and dear to your heart. Your father, Paul, he won this event with a pretty famous horse a few years back.
Yeah, just a little horse called Some Beach Somewhere. Yeah, he's a really, really nice horse, and this was one of his first big races and big wins, and it was a really very exciting day.
Awesome. And one final comment, the 5/8 mile track, the new 5/8 mile oval this year, you're getting a lot of good comments on it, and a lot of new people today that probably haven't seen it before. What's the feedback been?
Oh, I've had multiple people come up to me today and just say what a beautiful track it is, and it's awesome. So the industry's been very excited and very happy to have this, and I just can't wait to see how this race plays out.
All right. Well, we're not going to make you stand there any longer, hunched over like that. We appreciate you stopping by for a quick comment on the spot. Thanks, Jenna McDonnell. Congratulations on a great day.
Thank you so much.
All right. They're almost ready to go here. Final thoughts. Mark, who's your pick this year in the Battle of Waterloo?
Coming into the day, I was leaning towards the 6 All-Star Maniac. I'm not going to change that pick just yet. I talked about it a couple of moments ago. He paced his final 3 quarters. Each of those individual splits was in sub-28. But when you got to the far turn, that race was over. 5th and 5 had that one wrapped up, so he didn't even have to go to the well, despite the fact that he was pacing home strongly in 27 and 4. I think he's got another notch that he can go up here today, so I'll go with the 6 All-Star Maniac.
We're right on board. I like that colt as well. I've liked him from day one. The only start recently where he faltered was one where he was put on the lead through wicked fractions at Woodbine, 3 back, and he held on for 4th. He raced well. I like the fact that he's come back with 2 real sharp efforts since then, so it really didn't take much out of him, and in fact maybe has tightened him up and has him in good stead for this event. And Sterling Choice, the good-looking gray in the inside, he'll be easy to pick out. He's 13-1, maybe long shot potential. Great shot from the drone. It is the 2024 Battle of Waterloo. History in the making, first time ever on the 5/8 mile oval. And with the call once again, track announcer Gary Guy.
5 and set shot. In the center, Tito and Cheddar and Stonebridge Wizard. To the outside, All-Star Maniac in Blue Bar and Out of Ice. And the second tier, Boyd Bay. It's a field of 9. Race 11, the Win-Back Farm Battle of Waterloo. Field for the 11th race is at the start, and the rough. And Stonebridge Wizard and Tito and Cheddar will get out well. Sterling Choice on the inside and Out of Ice, and then 5th and 5. Then it is back to set shot. All-Star Maniac is racing 7th. Boyd Bay is 8th, and Blue Bar is trailing the field. Stonebridge Wizard and Doug McNair able to grab the early lead at 5-2. Sterling Choice at 14-1 is second, and then racing 3rd. Out of Ice is out well from post 8, and there goes 5th and 5 now, quickly moving up on the outside as they race off the turn. Then Tito and Cheddar is racing 5th. That opening quarter was 26 seconds flat, and now 5th and 5 is coming on, dueling for the lead against Stonebridge Wizard. 5th and 5 and Stonebridge Wizard, and Sterling Choice is 3rd. Then it is Out of Ice, and then Tito and Cheddar on the outside set shot. The field works their way on around the turn, and then further back we go. All-Star Maniac on the outside, and on the pylons is Boyd Bay, and trailing the field is Blue Bar, but they've been dueling, in Stonebridge Wizard parking out 5th and 5, who's working still on the outside. 53-1 halftime, and Out of Ice now is coming in. There goes All-Star Maniac now, and All-Star Maniac is on fire, in Blue Bar from the backfield. All-Star Maniac is 4 wide, 3 deep is Out of Ice. On the inside, Stonebridge Wizard, slim lead. 5th and 5 is right there in the hunt as well, and Blue Bar is moving. On the inside, Sterling Choice, 3 quarters, 1:22-1. Stonebridge Wizard still has the lead. For now is turned back 5th and 5 and Out of Ice, and on the inside, Sterling Choice now took the short way around the turn and is looking to pounce against Stonebridge Wizard. Stonebridge Wizard. Here comes Sterling Choice. Stonebridge Wizard is digging in. Stonebridge Wizard. Sterling Choice is trying to come to Stonebridge Wizard. At the finish, it's going to be close, but it goes to Stonebridge Wizard on the inside. Sterling Choice, and then Tito and Cheddar and Boyd Bay in 5th and 5. 151-2. A new track record for a 2-year-old pacing colt. The Battle of Waterloo. Stonebridge Wizard.
Wow, an absolute slugfest from start to finish. And Stonebridge Wizard, they threw everything but the kitchen sink at him today, Mark, and he had to dig for every ounce he had and hold off a determined Sterling Choice in the late stages. It's another new track record, 151-2. And Stonebridge Wizard, we knew the talent was there. Today we see the toughness to go along with it. What an effort. One of the most memorable Battle of Waterloos we've ever seen.
That's an absolutely unreal mile by the winner, Stonebridge Wizard. 53-1 to the half. And, I mean, when they were coming by the grandstand for the first time, 5th and 5 was roaring up, trying to clear to the lead. And he got probably a length and a quarter by, just not far enough that Jody could clear. And Doug put the hammer down, asked everything he could of Stonebridge Wizard not to let him go. And they go wicked fractions. And then to fend off Sterling Choice, who realistically is in behind, pops out at the head of the lane, and you think, okay, can probably get by. What can Stonebridge Wizard have left? He had enough left to get the victory.
You're right. He needed the wire, but the rest did as well, and understandably so. There had to be at least 3 different points in the race, Mark, where we thought a horse was going to go by Stonebridge Wizard, and he met every challenge that was thrown at him. Talk about tenacity and full marks for the victory. Stonebridge Wizard getting it done. Sterling Choice Connections are going to be ecstatic, of course, with the way he raced. And Tito and Cheddar, and there's Boyd Bay. We talked about him, and I think the connection to both of those will be quite happy. Real nice paydays walking away here today. But Stonebridge Wizard, he'll go down as one of the great champions in this event after that performance today.
And when they got to the half in 53-1, the backfield had to think, okay, we're going by. And a couple of them do pick up pieces, but the move that All-Star Maniac started to make, go into 3/4, James moved him. He had to sit near the back, and then he ends up getting shoved out 4 wide, and he's trying to get around, and you know what? That's just going a lot more racetrack than the others have to. He ends up just tiring and just flattens right out. And then the fact that the horse up front kept going, it just doesn't, almost doesn't make sense. It's an incredible effort. It's a track record effort, 51-2 by Stonebridge Wizard.
And for driver Doug McNair, that is win number 6. That is Battle of Waterloo title number 6. So he stands alone in that regard on the driver's side, getting it done here with a Stonebridge Wizard. Yeah, Mark, when you watch the race now, I'm going to say right up front, I'm not comparing this horse in any way, shape, or form at this point to Arts Place, but kind of reminded me of the night at Pompano Park. I was there when Arts Place went what you thought were impossible fractions, meaning impossible to stand up to and be there at the end, and he won in dominant fashion. It wasn't a dominant win here at the end for Stonebridge Wizard, but tremendously gritty victory for this guy to get it done. So congratulations to the connections. Jared Bako does the training. Jared, a London area native, now applies his trade primarily in New York. Brother Scott's been up here and some of the team helping the operation out there. David Cryway of Amherstburg, of course, one of the principals with the stallion Dancin' Lou when he raced. And his first crop making a very good impression, and a real nice credit for him here, Dancin' Lou, the stallion that stands at Terra Hill Stud. The event sponsored by Winback Farm, Pat Woods and his team on hand today, and really want to thank Winback for their support of this event and support of racing, in fact, all across Ontario.
Yeah, they do a tremendous job in putting a lot of dollar and efforts behind events like these. They don't necessarily have to, but it's part of their commitment to the sport, and again, part of their brand. They are well known right across all of harness racing, represented in multiple states and now in Ontario as well, as they've been for quite some time. So big shout out to them.
And Pat making a nice fashion statement there today as well.
Great shirt.
Love the summer shirt there, and happy connections. There's Scott Bako at the horse's head, and the rest of the group there, Doug McNair and his family, of course, celebrating as well.
I got a great stat for you here, just looking this one up. 151-2 is a Canadian record for a 2-year-old male pacer. So both the Colts and Geldings. The Gelding record before was 152-1, set by just assigned to me back in 2010 at Windsor Raceway. So this guy being a gelding, he breaks that one. But he also would have broke the colt record, which was 151-3, set by Falcon's Future in 1993 at Mohawk.
Wow.
I mean, that's got to be one of the oldest Canadian race records that they have. Now, they'll put him under the list under the gelding, so that colt one will stand. but no 2-year-old male pacer has gone a mile faster than that since 1993.
That's incredible. So again, I think it punctuates what we saw here this afternoon. We said coming in, we might see something special, and I would put that under the special category for sure. Stonebridge Wizard, when all said and done, he opened up as the favorite. He goes off at a very generous 750. 3 long shots underneath, and you get some very nice mutual returns. The $47 exacta, the try for $1, 323 and change, and a whopping high five ticket, $4,656 plus in that category. So congratulations again to the connections. It looks like Robert Reed is standing by in the winner's circle. He's got Doug McNair and Scott Bako, it looks like, and they've just finished up with the trophy presentation. So we will get set now to throw it over to Robert Reed.
Stonebridge Wizard win the Win-Back Farm winner's circle as well. And listen, Doug, last race, I mean, you get placed back one position, right? It's got to be a little bit disheartening, right? Coming into the big dance here in the Battle of Waterloo, but you took on all comers.
Yeah, obviously you got to turn the page when something like that happens, and I didn't know how I was going to go about it. I don't think this is a spot where you want to sit in the 2-hole. I mean, the passing lane doesn't seem to favor horses in the 2-hole. So, I mean, when I made the front so easy, I mean, no one did me no favors. I crossed over like right now. I had the perfect position. 4 or 5 here is great to get off the gate. And when I crossed over, I said, I mean, we're going to have to go a pretty good half to get around me. I mean, I still was thinking about letting Jody go heading into the second turn, but like I said, I knew if I let him go, our race was over. We have no shot at winning. I mean, I didn't want to finish last either, but I really thought that was the only one that had a shot to beat us. And when we looped him off the gate, so easy as we did, I had him gathered up just before the 3/8. Like he was handy, and he's a real nice colt. So it's so professional, and I mean, I come in early to warm him up for the boys here, and I did do a very good job. I actually had him on the run, but he rebounded in the race.
And I mean, we thought there'd be fireworks off the gate. I mean, did you expect that as well? Because it was real easy off the switch.
Well, last week he got off the gate so easy, and wasn't even asking about the 2-hole, which is really tough to get off the gate or the track here in the 2-hole. So I knew when he drew 5, like I kind of had one thing planned on the gate, and I mean, I maybe still was thinking about that race before. I wasn't too happy about getting placed, but when I let him rattle in the first turn, like I said, he crossed right over like an age pacer, and I didn't really feel like letting anybody go.
So the decision was already made.
It was made at the quarter pole, and then at the half, I guess that's when I really made a decision. But Jody never stepped around me anyways. This colt's a nice colt, but like I said, if I let him go, it's the only shot I had at beating him. I mean, if he lets me go to come back, I got no choice but to let him come back around. But when I beat him off the gate that handy, I had nothing else on my mind.
And your colt's been, I mean, incredibly versatile, right? And maybe even underrated coming into the final. He goes off as a second choice, but he's done nothing wrong in his career.
No, I think I let him relax a little bit on the lead last week. I kind of let him get to me heading in the last turn. I almost got him beat, so like obviously it wasn't my plan to rattle him 53, but I mean we had no choice, and they were coming 3-4 wide just past the 5/8, so I was hoping they're going to lose quite a bit of ground in the last turn, and that's what happened. So we got lucky and we won.
And this now makes you 2 wins ahead of anyone else for the winningest driver in this race. And this seems like one that you always really want to win. What is it about you, Industry Day, and this race?
Yeah, it's I told Michelle there, my girlfriend or fiance, I guess, that I actually get nervous on days like this for some odd reason. I don't know. It's just like my buddies from high school come here, and a lot of my family's here, and so it's like they expect me to win. So I just don't want to mess things up.
All right, there you go. Congratulations, Doug. Another Battle of Waterloo victory. Go celebrate.
Thanks, Rob.
All right, we're going to get some words here with Scott Bako, assistant trainer to Jared Bako, Stonebridge Wizard. And, I mean, first of all, I mean, you take care of the horse, obviously, north of the border for your brother Jared. Let's talk about the way this horse has come along. I mean, a couple of qualifiers south of the border and just hit the ground running here.
Yeah, he's been a colt that we really liked right from the get-go when we broke him in November. Jared was always really high on him. He was always his favorite, actually, of the bunch, so he's never really done a whole lot to disappoint us. He's just consistently kept getting stronger and stronger.
And, watching this race unfold, I mean, wicket fractions on the lead. I mean, from your point of view where your job's done and you've got no part in it, how do you kind of feel watching it?
Well, in his case, he's a big, strong, kind of a rangy kind of colt, and he is bigger than most of the colts that are in here as a 2-year-old. So, he's a colt that does kind of set up where when they go more fractions in here, I think it will suit him because he does cover the ground so well. But, I mean, you just got to hope that you've put your work in and they're fit enough and they're ready to go. At the end of the day, it's on them when they hit the racetrack.
I mean, he certainly was, right? I mean, that's an incredible mile, taking on all comers. And, and coming out of this now, I mean, obviously the gold races are kind of the goal. Anything other goals that he has north of the border here?
He is eligible for the Metro. He'll most likely be in there, I would imagine. And then the Breeders' Crown down at the Meadowlands. And other than that, I think he's just going to mostly see the OSS. As far as I've been informed, I think, because Jared doesn't like to get too many starts on the babies and that. There's no point in wearing them out now. There's still next year that we got to worry about. So,
right, well, you guys do a heck of a job with them. Congratulations again.
All right, thank you.
Scott Bako, assistant trainer of Stonebridge Wizard, winning horse of the Battle of Waterloo.
All right, thank you very much, Robert. So that puts a wrap on things here today. The first edition of Industry Day on the new 5/8 mile oval mark. Safe to say it did not disappoint.
And we thought there'd be fireworks. There was exactly that. The main event was a thriller, and Stonebridge Wizard, you said it earlier, put up a performance that I think is going to last for quite some time. We're going to remember that one. I like it. They threw everything.
Yeah.
They threw everything at him, and he found a way to get it done.
Right. And for those who hadn't seen much of Grand River, the new Grand River this season, I think those who watch today will become instant fans of the racing here. They're at about the halfway point of the season. They'll go right through the end of September here. So this is a big day for them and a highly successful one. And we are so glad that you were able to join us for this edition of Cosa-Tv. And we look forward to future shows. What's upcoming, you say? Well, we're going to be back in the month of September with a big one from Woodbine Mohawk Park. It's the Grassroots Finals, one of the nights that I look forward to, Mark, as much as any, because as we saw here today, these grassroots divisions are some of the most competitive. We'll have 8 championship finals that night. A nice prelude to the OSS Super Finals as well.
Exactly that. And a few weeks later, we're back on October 12th with the Super Finals. And really, September, October, through the fall, there's a lot going on, including, well, they say in harness racing, it all comes down to the Breeders' Crown, October 25th and 26th at the Meadowlands.
Stay tuned to our social channels for more information, and for the winner today in our drawing for the swag package as well. We'll have that posted in the coming days as well. So again, a big thank you to the staff here at Grand River for their hospitality. Thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you next time on Cosa-Tv.